And once again, a massive thank you to our supporters over at patreon.com/87age Survivor FM, our $10 supporters, Dick Donovan, Kenny Baker, Shane Murphy, and Big Dog, our $25 supporter, Jake Snow. Thank you so, so much. And also to our YouTube member, Kenny Baker. We hope you all enjoy the show, and ciao for now. And we are live in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And welcome to episode 70 of the DayZ podcast, brought to you by our generous patrons over at patreon.com/87age Survivor FM. Marks, good to see you again, mate.
Good to be here.
Glad.
How are you all doing?
That's you again as well, mate, with a lovely new webcam and lighting.
Hell yes, it is beautiful.
Okay, that's probably going to be one of the geekiest mugs I think I've ever seen. What is that? Is that Warhammer or something?
It's a Zelda Hylian Shield tea mug.
There you go. Okay. Scalespeeder, lovely picture you've got in the background there, mate.
Look at this chap here.
Beautiful.
Just above the spare bed, looking down.
He watches you as you sleep, make sure that nothing bad happens.
Literally, when you turned the cam on earlier, mate, I was gobsmacked when I saw that on the wall there. But hats off to you, mate. Hats off to you. You're a game man putting my ugly face. What was that, Marks?
Imagine waking up to that every morning.
Oh,
it's a dream come true.
Well, my missus is still with me after 20-odd years, so it can't be that bad.
Must be good stuff.
And we are joined this week by the one, the only PixelTraitor. How you doing, buddy?
I'm very good, fella. How about yourself?
Not too bad. Is that a Stimpy thumbnail you've got as your logo picture?
Believe it or not, it is.
Oh,
I do like a bit of Stimpy. He's fantastic.
He's
His admin probably isn't the greatest, but I, as I said after that video first came out, I'm not going to get on my high horse and say I didn't piss myself laughing at the admin abuse video. But yeah, he definitely pushes the envelope with those, doesn't he, Scalespeeder?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
So, folks, this week is a console special. That's why we've got Scalespeeder on as a guest host, because out of the three of us on the usual panel, myself, Lad, and Marks, none of us really know much about console, but Scalespeeder is definitely a Scalespeeder fan, a console fan. So, yeah, PixelTraitor, you gave us a massive list of points that you wanted to discuss. Now, not all of them, though, were specific to
console specific.
Yeah, but there was still enough in there that's why I reached out to you about getting you on, because there's a few things there that, whilst they're not console specific, they're sort of relevant for official service as well. And we have talked about official quite a bit on the show. So, yeah, I thought there'd be some merit in discussing this.
Like I said to Marks earlier, my main focus was the official vanilla on console. It's not got as much as PC. I mean, PC vanilla and console vanilla are the exact same, as we all know, but you've got a lot more with PC for your modding communities and whatnot, whereas console's just solely a community server, which can't have the same sort of things as like on PC, like your traders, your safe zones, etc. It's just something to look forward to if it was something that could potentially be put in, or if that type of thing.
Now, this first point you've raised here, the frame rate from a PS4 or 5 compared to an Xbox Series S or X. Tell us a bit more about that.
Well, I did watch a video a long time. I can't remember what it was, but he had side-by-side footage from an Xbox S or X and a PS4 and a PS5. And they were running down the exact same street, which was it was from Cherno to Electro and through Electro. And you could see the difference between the two. On the PlayStation side, it was quite stuttery. It was very like jagged everywhere you go, and it seems like it lagged a lot more. But on the Xbox, it was quite smooth and it run pretty crisp. That was my
You're nodding
look
your
for
head there,
on the PS5.
Yeah. So what happens on the PS5? You'll get DayZ at 4K, but it's still capped at 30 frames a second. Whereas on the Xbox, but with the Xbox S and X, it hammers along at 60 frames a second, so you get that, that crisper kind of PC view.
Mhm.
What it is the big difference this generation with the new ones between Xbox and PlayStation is the backwards compatibility and frame rate boost Microsoft have put in. So there's a load of old games, Xbox One era games that can run at 60, 120 frames a second, where they've gone in, behind the code to make them go faster. So games like Sniper Elite, Battlefield 1, PUBG, for example, runs at 60 frames a second, and DayZ runs at 60 frames a second as well. And some of them go a lot faster as well. With the Series X, they go up to 120. Some of the series on the Series S, they go up to 120 as well with the right model. So when you're kind of thinking about upgrading this time, if you're really into your older games, last year, like DayZ, where there isn't an next-gen version of DayZ for PlayStation or Xbox, the Xbox is probably a better option because it does have frame rate boost and it just plays these old games a lot better. And I love it. I've got the Xbox S, the Series S, and at 60 frames a second on a 40-inch TV, it looks amazing.
I can imagine, to be fair. Yeah. But it is actually quite interesting because, I mean, I would love to get both the Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5 because the backwards compatibility for the X is just straight up better than the PlayStation 5. But in terms of hardware, the PlayStation 5 is arguably better, and there's some games on there which appeal to me more than the Xbox. But the fact that DayZ runs better on the Series X and S than PlayStation 5 because of those resolutions and whatnot, it's quite interesting. And is there any way that you can turn down the resolution on the PlayStation 5 to like 1080p 60 FPS? Is that kind of like a mode to be set?
Not that I'm aware of. It's more of a case of, I think, Xbox, a few years ago, when they, had the debacle over the Xbox One coming out, and they sold it as like a TV box, didn't they?
Yes.
And then they finally got behind it and just created it as a gaming machine. And one of the big pushes was for backwards compatibility with Xbox 360 games, and they've kind of carried that through as well. So I think ultimately, they're looking at you want DayZ, running at 4K, on your Xbox One, or even upscaled 4K on the Series S. Its native is 14. I mean, the Series S native is 1440, 60 frames a second, or 120 on a monitor. And Microsoft are kind of really focused on that side of it, where PlayStation seems to be a lot more. Forget your old games. You're buying a new console to play new games on it. That's why you've bought it. They're not that interested in making the older games run better. It may be something to do with their architecture as well, the way that they've done it, and the way that Microsoft do it. But I have been incredibly impressed with I've always had a PlayStation 4 for the last several years.
Yeah. But
the Series S, it's blown me away for the money, for 250 quid. What it can do, the way it plays games, it's amazing.
Yeah, you really cannot go wrong there, to be fair.
Absolutely. So, yeah, it's definitely worth looking at. And it's honestly, everybody I've talked to who's switched over to an S or an X and have fired up DayZ have been like, oh my god, this is amazing, unbelievable. This is like playing on a PC.
It does look so much better than the PS4 and 5 variant of the game.
Yeah. Do you have an Xbox, Pixel?
I don't. I have a PlayStation 4 and a 5. My friend has an Xbox.
Yeah.
And he sent me a video just through Facebook call. I had a look. I was like, it just runs so much smoother, and it's annoying. As Lad had said, the PS5, its specs are arguably better than the Xbox. I don't see why we're capped to so amount, and Xbox can just happily plod along with what they've got. Like, it's just the tech getting pushed to its limits.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, to give you an example, with the Xbox Series X, Battlefield 4 plays at 120 frames a second. You know, which is pretty amazing.
That is.
Is there I don't know if this is how this works, but you know the way Xbox has the deal with DayZ where they get experimental and stuff like that, and PlayStation does it. Is there a thing, I wonder, where like, okay, since you have this deal, we'll give it to you at 4K 60 FPS.
No,
leave it that way, or could that seems like it would be a bit vicious.
The games are exactly the same. Say between the like I've got an Xbox One X there as well next to the Series S. You know, the game itself is exactly the same. It's just that the hardware runs so much faster. But Microsoft have kind of flicked the switch that allows it to really run away and run at those higher frame rates.
Push it to its limits.
Yeah, and it's. I mean, we all love DayZ, but PUBG is another class. If you're into your PUBG, I've played with Xbox guys who've got Xbox One S's and Xbox One X's, and they fired up Series S's, sorry, and they've literally been, oh my god, this is like playing on a high-end PC. You know, but when you play on a TV anyway, you know, when you go from 30 frames a second to 60 frames a second, it is a massive difference, but it's stable as well. It's like rock solid at 60. You know, you do get the odd frame drops and stuff like that, but most of the time,
that's going to happen.
It's smashing along, and people are just, you know, the clarity is fantastic, the immersion is much, much better, and it's a sight to behold. You know, it really, really is fantastic.
I will say that I'm quite envious of console players, because obviously with me being like, you know, a PC player, and you know, before 2016, I was console. Or just box standard. Always wanted to be console, and then I got me first PC that I built myself, and it was just kind of gone from there. I miss being able to just sit back, relax, just chill out, just play on your console, just have a good time. But now it's just all like, you know, whatever. And the fact that you guys you can just sit back, relax on your 40, 60, whatever inch TVs, and you can still get the same experience as PC players in terms of performance, especially on obviously the latest consoles. It's crazy considering how far DayZ not only is a game, but is how it's come on console as well. Because when it first released, it barely hit 30 FPS on the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4.
What's it like with mouse and keyboard on the Xbox?
I've done a little bit of testing with mouse and keyboard. It seems fine. I'm not a big fan of mouse and keyboard because, I've never really played that way for many, many, many years. So yeah, it seems okay. I mean, you can use mouse and a keyboard on PlayStation and Xbox. You know, they all support it now, and you know, and it's fine. You can do that way, if you want to, sort of thing.
I just can't understand how people play DayZ with a controller, Marks. It blows my mind.
Yeah, it's I've seen some videos of people aiming, like shooting and aiming, and oh my god, like it's like I know Call of Duty, for example. I know two different games, but like, you know, they play that on a controller and stuff, and you can see how they can control recon and stuff. And I used to play COD on console as well with a controller, but there'd be no hope in hell I'd be able to control the recon of the guns that you have in DayZ with a controller. It's just it's insane.
There is aim assist, though, isn't there, on DayZ on consoles?
I do believe aim assist is only for the infected.
That's what I've heard.
Is it right?
Yes.
Yeah. I've tried it a few times. It doesn't seem to lock on to my friends as it would infected. Infected, when you hit them with a melee weapon, it turns and rotates your character. But if you're next to a player, it won't. You'll continue swinging the same direction that you're facing.
That's kind of reminiscent of an old combat system DayZ tried to implement in 1.1, 1.2, where you would melee and it would lock onto the entity you're attacking, but they got rid of it because it was just, frankly, it was terrible. But the fact that it's still on console for infected only, that makes sense. The aim assist and lock on for infected. Good job, I say. Obviously, sitting here as a PC player who gets no aim assist whatsoever and is terrible at PvP, you know, good job. Yeah,
I mean, another thing on console with the controller, you know, you have the the quick wheels rather than the numbers, so that's nice and fast. You don't have to worry about playing Tetris with your inventory. You just drop stuff in.
No, that's very true.
You know, in some ways, I wouldn't mind it on DayZ PC if they gave you the option to have the console in the game. Some think they're faster and a little bit easier.
Now, you also talked about loot. The loot is capped so much lower to that of PC, limited to certain amounts of weapons. Nothing spawns back in if everything gets buried. Now, that's more of a general issue, but I do think someone did a response to that.
Yes, I do believe I'm wrong on that part, because I do believe both vanilla versions of the same game. But it was just one of those things that I had in my head, because every time I speak to someone that plays on PC, they always find the loot where it's meant to be. Whereas like, on console, when you're running about and you're trying to find something, say at Tissy or the Northwest Airfield, it's just smoke grenades or Braca sites.
That's more to do with the massive duping problem associated with the console crowd, isn't it?
Yeah, there's a ridiculous amount of dupers. Any server I tend to join, it tends to have someone. I'm pretty sure you can feel it when you play in the game as well. Everything seems to just stop working, and then a couple seconds later it's to normal and you're going again. But it's just the loot is it's just not there.
You've got community consoles, don't you, Scalespeeder? Sorry, community servers on console?
Oh, yeah. Got a few.
What's the problem like with duping on your community servers?
Touch wood, we don't have any duping at all, because my servers are kind of PvE only, so they're kind of there's a paywall on them to get into them. So everybody who wants to be in there, kind of paying a little money to be in there. So they all enjoy exploring and surviving. And what we have is Chernarus is like a fun map where there's all the vehicles are ready to go, the trucks are full of stuff, and we've got like Don's shop in that board, so you can get whatever you want. There's never a problem getting anything. You can practice building and shooting, and you can go looking for helicopter crashes or go hunting, and you'll find it, really quickly. Problem. And the Livonia is the vanilla one, so it's hard. That people can learn DayZ. There's an awful lot of loot on.
The duping for community servers on console is solely different as well. You've got a 15-second timer between each one. You spawn in as a freshie on every community server. Whereas official, you can jump and you have to wait 75 seconds. You spawn in with all your gear and whatnot. I think on official, it's a lot easier for them to duplicate, because they could jump between servers without without the worry of being a freshie on the next server that they're going to.
Yeah.
There's different ways of doing it. There was a 2 PS4 method. I don't know if anyone's ever heard of that.
No, how does that work?
Right, so the way they did it was you'd have one PlayStation 4. My girlfriend's got a PlayStation 4 over on the other side of the room. I'd log in on DayZ on this PlayStation, load in, I'm there, and what I'd do is I'd load into the same account on her PlayStation and go onto DayZ and load in as well, and both my characters would be there with the same name.
Right.
Because if you tried doing it on one PlayStation, it wouldn't work, because you have the option to switch user or it'd log you out. But if you have 2 PlayStations, you could just drop all your gear off of my girlfriend's PlayStation, and then when I log back in onto this account, I'm still in the game and all the loot's on the floor, and I've still got all mine on. So it was just a constant flow. I could keep doing it, log out, log in, log out, log in. I'd have about 10 different kits.
Jesus Christ.
Wow.
Did they eventually patch that, I would assume?
From 1.13 they have. It doesn't work anymore. Not that I've tested it, but I've seen everybody on Twitter and Facebook crying about it.
Well, obviously, they will. That's crazy. Going back to something you said, Scalespeeder. So, you said you charge people to access your server. Is that right?
Yeah, it's all on the Bohemia site. Well, when Xbox and PlayStation private servers came along, we were like, oh, incredibly exciting. Oh, wow. Yeah. But you couldn't really do much stuff with. All you could do was change the time, so we could have all daytime servers, which was really good. So we didn't have to have night. And then, I had a couple of private servers, and we tried lots of different rules and different things happened. But in the end, it came down to making a decision about it. I said, look, if you want to go PvP, you can go on public servers, other private go over a lot. But my servers, we're going to be PvE only. It's all about learning DayZ and giving people a chance to wander around and build, drive cars and stuff like that without getting shot in the back of the head. So everybody pays, a couple of bucks, $2 a month to pay towards the rental of the servers, and they people come and go. They come in and they play for a few months, then they go, right, I want a different experience now, and they go and do other
good,
stuff,
mate.
or they stay around for a long, long time.
Entry level community to help build the skills of people before they go balls to the wall on the PvP servers and the hardcore ones, and that's a good thing to do, mate.
Yeah, and what lots of them do is they'll play on churners for a while, but they really like Livonia as well, because they want the survival of DayZ, they want the hunting and the building and all that sort of stuff, but they just don't want to get shot in the back of the head by someone when they're at a water pump, I know it's not complete DayZ to do that, but if you've only got a certain amount of time to play...
We always say everyone's got their own way of playing it, but there is no right or wrong way to play DayZ. That's the beauty of it. And there's a server...
Unless you're a cheating scumbag.
Yeah. Now, you also mentioned the potential of official-based servers on console with a currency and safe zone plus trader, as we are unable to mod due to Sony and Microsoft's no-mod policies. Maybe the devs could look into making a quarter of all official servers have a fixed working safe zone and or trader and leave the others as they are. Now, straight away, the first thing I think there is, Marks, that's kind of what community servers are for. I don't know whether they can actually implement a hard safe zone like a software enforced one, but it's sort of tapping into what community servers are for, Marks.
It is, yeah. There's I think a bigger problem with that though than having servers on them is if you make them safe zones, there will be people in there that will not leave those safe zones no matter what.
Yeah.
You see it on servers nowadays. They would either camp safe zone, like if there was like a 100-meter radius around it where it was safe zone, they camp it the second you walk out, you'll be dead. They camp it as they're going into it, and there'll just be people that will just sit in safe zone and do nothing else but chat shit constantly. And since they're unmoderated servers,
oh god, that is just
you're asking for big trouble there.
Definitely. I mean, safe zones even on community servers, especially for the larger servers, I should say, they're already difficult to manage, and they can be problematic with each and every single update. Yeah. So for the devs to take time out of their day to create a dedicated safe zone kind of mechanic, to say it bluntly, seems like a bit of a waste of time. Plus, it also detracts from the actual core idea of DayZ in and of itself. Yeah, if they had an option where they could allow community servers to use such functionality without it being unofficial, that would be pretty interesting. If they allowed community server owners for console to have that would be good. But to have it on official servers, no, that's because obviously whatever happens on consoles it gets passed over to PC, and vice versa. So it's kind of, it not only affects console players, but it'll affect PC servers. So it's kind of, you got to think about that. I mean,
what are your thoughts on the trader option there, Scalespeeder?
Well, I have to think this is a really, really good idea, especially basically on community as well. Like you say, maybe not on public ones, but we all know that on the official ones, we all know that traders on PC servers have. Yeah, it's one of the reasons why DayZ is still going as it is, isn't it? Because you can run in and you can grab your money and you can go.
Servers.
People love traders, and if they want console to really explode, 100% they should license the trader mod, even if it was only to use the default locations at Green Mountain, and I don't know where the other one is, but have those with a little safe zone on. If they just had that on console with the ability to just put a couple of tick boxes on your Nitrado server control panel, it would explode. People would absolutely love it. It'd be absolutely fantastic if they did that. Yeah, and I think they can try things on they don't put on PC. If they could have a few public servers where they go, okay, so for these ones, there's going to be a trader at Green Mountain. Go at it. players would go after, because everything has to be kind of ring fenced off, doesn't it? Because they don't want people hacking the consoles. But we started off with started off with private servers where we couldn't do anything. Then we could control the time. Then we could control the XMLs. We're slowly nibbling away. We'll probably get init.c next, and then maybe we'll get like some licensed mods. And I think Trader, if they put Trader, absolutely amazing. Be superb. If they're listening, they should do it.
Big one. Would definitely be a big one, Pixel, because it is so popular on console, mate. I'm not a huge fan of AI traders. I like player run ones, but I know how much work and effort goes into those, and when they can be rated easily, and with the lack of mod versions of building for bases and stuff on console, it'd be something that would be quite hard to do, I think, Pixel, as a player trader.
No, yeah, definitely. I think my main thought process behind it was just something to, kind of relating to my fifth thing that I mentioned, was like, it's just to try and get rid of them players that are like that. The ones that, like Mark says, would just sit in there and give abuse, this, that, and the other. Separate them from the other servers, like kind of like arcade players. You want to separate them from the ones that actually want to be immersed in the game.
Mm-hmm.
It's just something to kind of, not to segregate people in a sense, because everyone's got the freedom to join whatever server they want. But the people that would enjoy doing that, like sitting in a safe zone, giving a bit of lip, so on and so forth, give them that. Just send them off that way. Yeah, like, obviously it doesn't have to be official, but it was just something in my thought process was just to separate them sort of dickish sort of players from the decent ones that actually want to be involved and make friends and talk, because it's all shoot, like kill on sight on console. You'll never find anyone that's willing to talk to you without trying to put a bullet in your back.
Yeah, that's... Yeah.
Except on Scalespeeder servers.
Yes, they're all very, very nice.
Yeah.
I mean, one thing that could be really interesting about, about the trader and safe zone kind of topic is that, you're talking about, how slowly over time console have had access to more kind of things to make the community service more customizable. Once init.c is implemented, if that is going to be the case, that's going to be brilliant for you guys. But what would be really cool, not only for the console players but also modders, is that if Bohemia does actually get in touch with certain modders on the PC platform, be like, hey, we really like your mod, but it's a very popular mod. We would like to offer you a percentage of a cut for console players. So if console servers wish to use your mod, they have to purchase like a license or whatever to then add it to their community server. That would be great for everybody involved, because console players are getting at least a piece of how PC servers are properly. It benefits the modders, and to be honest, it'll probably bring in more console players. Those who, especially these days, who don't wish to spend, a kidney and half of their lung to get a, graphics card and stuff like that, and they just want to get an Xbox Series S, because they're cheap as chips these days. I mean, how? Like 200 odd quid or something like that, like 250. And then, if they get that, and then they get the game, and they join a community server which has some elements of a modded PC server, I say bring it on. I say Bohemian Interactive should definitely do something like that, because it benefits everybody in that regard. But that's all I wanted to really say on that.
And yeah, you've also got in there as well about the mini trader spots in little towns, and look, it'd be something that'd be nice if they could look into it. A few of the more popular mods, and I think even if they only did a couple of them, I think a trader one would go a long way to introducing unofficial and primarily aimed at the console crowd, because I don't think too many people on PC official would be interested in it, but definitely for the console community, it would have to be a mod that would be up there in the top 5 that that community would like to see, because it would just open up a lot of doors for them.
Right.
Speaking of different doors for them, you've got the different levels of survival on set servers. Now, I actually like this. I do. I like this idea. Realism, hardcore, mediocre, as a way to split the arcade players from those who wish to have more of a hard time surviving, etc. Yes, I know that there's community servers and that, but you think back to when DayZ was first released. It was what were the two modes again? Hardcore and hardcore was just first person, and third person. I can't for the life of me. I'm forgetting it. What they used to call third person, but I think that would be something interesting just for the official, because sometimes people just don't want to play on a community server for whatever reason. Some communities might be a bit toxic, or just the person just wants to dip their toes in, and to have an easier level that's on the official. That would be something, Scalespeeder, that I think is worth investigating for them.
Yeah, I think this is another really, really good idea. 'Cause, you go to the server browser, you look down, and you go, okay, so this server is maybe realism would be 1 times loot, hardcore would be 0.75 loot, maybe mediocre. Is double loot, but done just straight from the XML's central economy.
Yep.
Yeah, and it would be really good. I think it'd be really, really good, really easy to do as well. Really,
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't take. It only takes half an hour to muck around with some XMLs and get them loaded up. To give it a little bit more food, a little bit more drink, a little bit more weapons, guns that have got bullets in them.
Is that sort of what you were meaning, PixelTraitor? You were aiming for that sort of a that sort of setup?
Yeah, definitely. My view on the mediocre servers would be like you get in, you spawn in with like an extra tin or an extra drink of food. When you're running through the town, any sort of shop area or anywhere that you loot in general would have just that bit more to get players just to have a bit of fun, go around this, that, and the other. Then you go on to hardcore, which would be like half the loot. And you're going through, you're like that, okay, I've only got half an apple here. Kind of like how you only get like 3 rags or half a bandage when you spawn in. Just something to go, right, okay, so my focus now is food and water. And then you crack on about your day, trying to survive. And then obviously survivalist or realism could just be pretty much next to nothing. You have to hunt for your food. You have to definitely go and see some, because the water wells, they could probably remove a few water wells as well to split up a bit. They have to drink out of a lake, and you have to go and get your medical supplies, etc. Like it's just something to split the players that want to have a fun time to the ones that want to be really immersed in the game and sit with their friends and actually have to have a fire, cook food, build a base, keep yourself safe and warm, that type of stuff. But yeah, that's definitely what I was going for.
Yep. No, I like that one. I think there's something to that. Now, edits to the map, Marks, I don't think there's much they can do with that.
No. I don't even know if do they even have anyone on the team that can do that?
Well, Sumrak.
I was just about to say, Sumrak's like the number one guy, yeah.
Yeah, but he's probably busy with everything else, so I don't think it's going to happen. I think they have more important things to be doing than map edits, but it would be cool, but I don't see it happening.
See, and this goes back to allowing console players access to the init.c, because even though it is a rudimentary way to make their own map edits, having them go in to overhaul a town or just to add some really cool like their own unique POIs would be really, really, really cool. I would love to see what they can do, but it would also, I would imagine, probably also have to depend on how they can actually do that, because obviously you handle the XMLs in the Nitrado server panel, I would imagine, yeah? Or whatever.
So what we can do at the moment is we can put our own buildings in. There's been lots of workarounds for doing it without having to use init.c. And most of the guys who are doing it, you use they use FTP and they use Notepad++ to edit the XMLs and put stuff up. So yeah, extra buildings and all that sort of stuff. They've done it. There's custom maps, custom parts of maps that people have done by putting more stuff in. It's quite amazing when you see what people have been able to do on console.
Okay.
And really, init.c for things like loadout startups is the one thing that I would like to see, because they could do that in a way where it could just be a text box on the Nitrado control panel where you would just add in the kit that you want. So you could inject like Gravity Wolf's random loadout script that he's got, so you could spawn him one of 5 different loadouts, and that would be really cool.
That would be really, really nice. I would love to see something more like that.
But I just don't see them making a lot more changes with things like a sewer system, basements in the current map.
It's pretty much impossible anyway, because if they had to do that, obviously it not only affects console, affect PC, but the engine doesn't natively allow underground sections like a normal engine does. They will have to basically make a pit wherever they want that section to be, and then completely change the model that they want to change out to add that section, which obviously requires a lot of dev time. And then, if they want a sewer system, that's entirely brand new assets completely. And then they have to work out surfaces, and they have to work out like the geometry, all that kind of stuff. It's a very complicated process. It would be really, really cool if they done something like that. But I don't see that happening without some kind of if they do ever go ahead and do it. Actually, no, they wouldn't even be able to do that. Sorry, just ignore me. I'm just being a tit. My mind's going places.
Now,
but no, I don't think at the end of the day it won't work. But yeah.
Now, Pixel, you talk about overgrowth and foliage roads covered in patches, etc., to immerse you more into the game. DayZ is set a year or so after the infection, but it's remained like that for 8 years almost, maybe put us forward a few years. That is an interesting idea. I'm not sure how I feel about that one, though, Pixel. It's just, it's kind of like, it would be nice if they did it, but at the same time, I know I'm talking about it from a PC perspective, and we've got things like the expansion map, where they've got the added foliage and that. But give us a bit more detail on what you're talking about there.
So in my mind, I'm not thinking anything too major. I'm not thinking buildings crumbling down or anything like that. It's just like on the roads, you'd have weeds growing. I mean, the game's gone on for so long now, from 2013, I believe it was, December. You'd have weeds growing, you'd have vines growing up, you'd take over a lot of areas, a lot of bushy areas, a lot of foliage would be about, like if there was no human interaction for that long period of time. So in my head, it was just like the roads could be covered in a bit more grass, vines on a few buildings here and there. I understand it'd have to be like retextured and bits and bobs, but even if they could do it as like a sort of holder that they place it over the top of that texture, so it's not necessarily interfering with their certain models, just something along them lines, just to get you a bit more into it.
Marks, that's potentially an easy map variant for them to release, to give a bit of variety to the console community, just to use one of the reskinned Chernarus maps, like Chernarus Plus or whatever it's called, and release that for console as an optional variant. They can use the original map, or they can use one that's a bit more run down.
I think it's a bit more complicated because I think it would kill performance.
Yeah, it would.
On console. It kills it on PC and a high-end PC.
Consoles, yeah, you got a good point.
It would kill them on the new ones as well. Like even on a high-end PC now, I know if you used to go on to DayZ expansions like Chernarus City, it would kill. You'd lose 60 FPS instantly.
Yeah,
like it would kill it.
Yeah, because on the modding perspective, you have to do some really funky stuff to add extra features to a building. But as the actual DayZ developer standpoint, adding Ivy, which obviously is a model that's already in the game, adding Ivy to buildings that already exist and stuff like that, just add it as a proxy, as it's called. Very, very easy to do. It's very, very easy to do that, to save it, to update the model, and then update the map and whatnot. But it does obviously come down to performance, and it's probably one of the reasons why we haven't had a standard map overhaul, is because the engine, whereas it is an interesting engine and there is a lot of interesting things in terms of performance, having a overhauled map in the style of that, it would absolutely kill. So you'd have to be very careful about where you would try and implement that, which areas in the map would need it more. Like Tizzy, for example, that would probably be more reclaimed by nature than, say, places on the coast, because obviously multiple variables, stuff like Novo, enough that would be more reclaimed by nature, and Starry Sobo, more reclaimed. It would probably be really cool. It was like the more northwest you go into the map, the more reclaimed it becomes, the more nature filled and more overgrown it becomes compared to places on the coast. That would be good. That would be very, very good. And then
sorry, go on.
No, go on, mate.
No, I was just going to say, from PC to console, on console, I don't know if you noticed this, Scalespeeder, but you've got about a 50 to 100 meter radius where the grass loads in as you travel. So it pops up here, there, everywhere. Bushes don't load in; they're just square boxes, far distance if you're looking for a lens or a scope. So if they were to add it on the map, I could understand the performance being like hit quite hard. But the way around the entire map, everywhere, the fields and everything, the grass loads in as you go. So I don't know. Obviously, it could still affect it, but I don't know too much myself. But I don't know how
Steve,
PC works.
From the DayZ expansion in there, and he's pretty much confirming what Mark's alluded to and what you alluded to, lad, that it's crazy how much impact these objects have on a server performance. So it's one that sounds great in theory, but when you look further into that theory, it's has massive implications on the overall server performance, because I think where the issue comes is if you've got a lot more rendering, then if you've got 60 players on there and they're all on at the same time, the impact that's having on the server.
Oh, yes.
Am I right there, lad? Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Because obviously, like the more characters that are in the area, then obviously the game has to render everything that's on that character. And if we're speaking vanilla standpoint, that stuff is pretty decently optimized compared to a lot of modded equipment. But
Steve's saying grass is the worst.
Yeah, it can be, depending on like the type of foliage. From what I can remember, Steve might correct me if I'm wrong. I haven't looked too much into grass, but like for example, on XDK, we've completely replaced the grass from vanilla to our own, and even though the grass is like less, how would I say, it's kind of like on paper it provides more performance, but because of the sheer number of it, it's less, so we lose FPS, but they look much better, so we kind of just said, sod it, why not just keep it? But having more foliage in vanilla and having it more rendered around, and bushes and and ivy and whatnot, it does drag the performance hella down. It really, really does. So you have to be very, very careful about trying to maintain that stable 60 FPS with additions, which is very, very difficult to do. And got to commend the expansion team for what they tried to do, but at the same time it was done, I wouldn't say poorly, but there was definitely more that could have been done. And just trying to get vanilla guys to do it would be just that would be hella spicy. If people complain about performance on console now, just wait. Just fucking wait.
Yeah.
But yeah.
The Seasons one is interesting though, Mark. It's something that even on PC we've all wished that we could see. I remember we talked on the podcast some time back about that lovely video someone had done showing basically the concept art of what could happen as the seasons change, but I just don't think it's possible, even for even for PC, Marks.
No, I don't think so. It seems like that'd be... I wouldn't even know how you'd do something like that. It'd be just...
No, it's very, very difficult to do something like that especially with coding and scripts, because you'd have to think of, how would I put it? Like, yeah, sure, you could base it off real time, but obviously DayZ has its own in-game time and calendar. So obviously you'll try and base it off that, but you'll have to think of the transitioning periods in between summer and autumn, winter, yada, 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 blah, blah, blah. Then there's a whole bunch of assets. And then you have to change how the game functions in terms of their foliage, depending on the season and how certain stuff is rendered and whatnot, and your character, how that is. It's a whole bunch of stuff that you really have to think about. Okay, how do I do this? And the most effective way to do it is have all the stuff ready, then make an update, and then just from that update on, 3 months later, when another update comes out, doing the next season. That's the
kind of what I
only
was
effective way
thinking.
to do
It'd
it.
be something that not a server wipe per se, Scalespeeder, but when they do, have it as a regular occurrence. Everyone knows. After 1 month, they're going to change the map on us and change it to the winter map, or the autumn map, or the spring map, or the summer map as the seasons go.
Yeah, because I know that Rockstar with GTA 5, every winter, or at least every Christmas, they change their Los Santos map to a winter one.
Yeah.
And it's really, really cool how they go about it. And it would be really interesting if the devs actually do something similar to that for DayZ. They could probably get in touch with the Winter Chernarus team about like certain elements that they done to see how to get maybe a rough idea. But then again, they could probably do it much better because obviously they have full access to those tools. So, winter comes, we get a proper dedicated Winter Chernarus. That would be bloody dope.
The only
and then
thing...
when it comes to,
sorry, go ahead.
No, go on, mate.
The only thing with the way GTA does it is it's an instant, like, you could be playing and 1 second and it's good, and the next minute it's winter, and then they usually do it for about 2, maybe 3 weeks, and then it goes back again.
Yes.
So I don't know if you could do it that way in DayZ where it just instantly stops. You'd have to have announce a day and a time, and then people could get a couple of days to prepare, find the good clothing, and then
definitely they would have to be, because of the nature of the game. It would have to be announced ahead of time. And especially for consoles, to be perfectly honest, performance on a Winter Chernarus, especially on console, would be absolutely amazing. There's so much less foliage to render and just everything like that. It'd be just beautiful. But maybe one day we'll see that happen vanilla-wise. Maybe not. Maybe if we shout at them enough, they'll be like, okay, maybe we'll get on top of that.
What do you think, Scalespeeder?
Yeah, I think it's another great idea. I think they've got a license, Winter Chernarus, or do their own version of it, and it would, you'd maybe have the Witches' Night event in October, Halloween or something, and then you would just on official servers it would be flick the switch, snow everywhere now, and then for a few months, and then flick the switch and it goes back. Maybe bring in some of the old the soft skills from the mouse, where we can start getting cold and getting frostbite and all that sort of stuff. I think it's a great idea, and again, a lot of this sort of revolves around, fingers crossed, them being able to license some of the other mods, these other maps from independent developers, or as you say, do their own one.
Do you think that if they were to announce it, right? Hear me out here now. I think I might just had a brainstorm. If they announce it on this day, this time, be on the servers because it's going to change. Then the Namalsk storm hits, the EVR storm hits, lasts for about 2.5 minutes or whatever. Once it's over, that's the transition period. So that storm comes, okay, here we go. You hunker down for about 2 minutes or something like that, and then once you come back out of your house, whatever, place is just covered in snow, really cold again.
Yeah, I don't think they could do it live with people on there. I think that's asking too much of the game.
Probably, but it's just a cool idea.
Well, one of the things we did on one of the events we have on my servers, a real simple event, is we have Nuclear Winter, where it's just night all the time. So something's happened, and that's it. It's going to be night for the next 4 days. And you can imagine doing that. There's been a nuclear explosion somewhere. There's a nuclear winter. When the sun comes back up, there's snow everywhere.
And your player base doesn't abandon the server when it turns to night?
They all start complaining after about 2 days. But, they've got... But it forces you to survive in different ways, doesn't it? They have got to get their night vision. They're all fighting for batteries and get them.
Well, talking about survival, that's a good segue into the next point. the benefits to surviving longer than others. I liked this point, probably one of my favorite, in that a lot of people play the game just as if it's a PUBG or a battle royale sort of thing. But if there was actual tangible benefits to the longer your person lives, food depletes less, stamina lasts a tad longer, health regens faster. Again, not really a console specific thing, but I just think that there's a lot of merit to that whole idea there, Marks. Give people a benefit to value their character's life.
Yeah. Like I obviously play with a lot of people who only play PvP, highly modded servers. And if you were to put them onto a survival server, they wouldn't be able to last at all. Like, they could be absolute monsters of PvP and they wouldn't have a clue how to last on a survival server. It would be cool to have stuff like that, where you kind of, the system, and there could be like little tricks to, having better stamina or stuff like that. But you don't want to make it too complicated then either. It has to be, I don't know, balanced. I wouldn't even know how to go about it.
Well, but the framework's already there, lad. We've seen Sumrak introduce the cold resistance that builds over time with the moles. Surely that same sort of mechanic could be implemented to do with some other skills. The longer you are alive, the quicker you can do certain tasks. Maybe build a fire or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean the soft skills. Obviously, it's native to vanilla. That it definitely needs to be. There definitely needs to be more attention to soft skills, because right now it's kind of just like it's one of those gimmicky things that doesn't really get much attention to because nobody really cares. No one really survives long enough to take advantage of it. Plus, they are usually broke. Like, certain things reset every single time you log off the server, which probably also makes people not really care. But having an actual overhauled, effective soft skills system, where, for example, if you chop down enough trees, which already, it's already in the game. If you chop down enough trees, you get more resources when the tree is chopped. When you sow cloves, stuff, the amount that it takes is less. It would be really cool if, once it's overhauled and it's all done, certain other things, how you can get more energy when you eat food, or more hydration. Well, not necessarily when you eat food, but you conserve more food. You conserve more hydration when you're out and about, when you're moving around. And, if you eat the right kind of foods, you get more of a buff. If you can cook correctly, then your cooking skill gets better. If you, simultaneously, if you keep, burning your food, your soft skill goes down and stuff like that. It's got to be, as Mark says, it's got to be balanced, but it's also got to be done in an effective way which actually engages the player, so you'll get less of these PvP focused players and other players who actually value the interaction, which DayZ is very well known for. But to get that system, it would have to basically make the devs and the higher ups be like, okay, the players actually want this. We need to focus on this in the next update. We need something like this, because I have heard rumors in the past, and it hasn't happened yet, thank God, but they were going to get rid of soft skills because it just wasn't working. But there's no point in it, because having a soft skill system in a game like DayZ, it's a necessity. It absolutely is. And it would benefit console players massively compared to PC, because obviously PC, you've got a whole bunch of different kind of servers out there. And as Mark says, you stick a PvP guy in a hardcore survival server, they're not going to last. They straight up, they're screwed. But
I don't think the skill really applies to a lot of the PvP players, Pixel, but there's definitely a good audience there of people who play DayZ more as a survival game that this one definitely appeals to, Pixel.
Yeah, definitely. It's something I quite like. I like to sit there. I like to cook. I like to be in my base, be in a house and put a fire on, keep myself warm, keep myself going. And I've kept some characters on console here well over 6 months. a while ago. I think it was 1.11. Before 1.12 come out, I was alive for the whole duration, taking it slow, taking it easy, always hunting. I've always got food, always got water. It's a bit different when obviously you meet the arcade players or the PvP players, as Mark and Lad are talking about. They rush too much. A Call of Duty sort of rush compared to a DayZ run, gun, clear a building type of scenario.
I like what Mackay wrote in chat there, Scalespeeder. My PvP mates think Darker Knights are hardcore.
Yes, we tried Darker Knights on XDK and we had a massive shit fest over it. People hated it, so we had to revert it. And it's such a shame because the Darker Knights are just so goddamn good and they make sense. They make absolute sense.
Do you have Dark Knights on your server, Scalespeeder?
No. We have really short nights. The nights on my servers last 15 minutes.
Yep.
But then when we have these events where night goes on and on and on. That I think I want to see a sanity bar like Green Hell, where you've got to keep on a level, keep your sanity going.
If you cannibalism.
Yeah, exactly. If you play Green Hell and what happens when you start to go insane in that game? Anybody?
No.
So what can happen in Green Hell is that when you start to go insane, you've got grubs underneath your skin. You'd love Green Hell, buddy. You start seeing things as well. So if you can imagine imagine you're playing DayZ as a loner and you haven't talked to anybody in 3 months with this, so your character's starting to go a bit loopy, and then maybe they would start to see zombies where they weren't. Or maybe when they saw a real player, the game would put a zombie skin on them, so you'd think they were a zombie, or vice versa. You'd see a zombie and they would look like a normal player, and you'd try and have a chat.
That's an interesting
like
mechanic, Marks. That's a very interesting mechanic.
And if you kept killing people as well, you'd start to go a little bit loopy because you're just slaughtering all these people.
GTA has that.
Yeah. Or if you hadn't talked to somebody so long, you'd just be like, you'd been eating out of a can for 6 months. You need some real food inside you, or you haven't had a wash. That's your one, isn't it, Boyd? You're not washing.
Yeah.
On that mod, that sort of stuff. I'd like to see something like that as well.
That would balance PvP. GTA has that, like, where you kill too many people, your sanity starts to go. Yes. And if you get to a certain point, you'll become wanted. Like, you'll become a target on the entire map for anyone to kill you.
Get dumped cap as well.
A money reward for it or something like that. So that's been done before, like in games, so it could be done, but just a balance again, like in the.
Yeah, it's got to be done, especially right, and it's actually just give us a really good idea for a mod.
Now, what do you mean by this next one here, Pixel? Upon death, have a tracker, days alive, miles travelled, etc. So it only appears on your dead screen?
Yeah, so obviously on PC, when you log out, you'll have yours on the screen for your character. Like I stated a minute ago, I've had characters that have gone for 6 months, but I don't know the exact seconds, minutes, or hours I've been alive, or days, etc. Even on a death screen, it could just show you were alive for so and so long, and then you just crack on as your next life, in a sense.
I like that though, because that's a good one for after you get over the rage of your character who's been alive for 3 months dying, you can jump into your community server or just onto Twitter or whatever and post up a screenshot of your character and just some sort of record. You can keep a track of your. For those who really get invested in their characters' marks, they can save the screenshot to as a memory of that person, of that character's life.
Yeah. I don't know what people do with really long characters. Mine doesn't last more than 2 days, maybe.
That would be really, really, really cool. I'm quite surprised that hasn't actually been a thing. Like, yeah, because you are right, Pixel. Like when you just log out, you got your character information. You got all your stuff there. If it's working as intended, that is.
That doesn't work. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, but when you do die and you do have like that kind of like custom like kind of thing, that would be so brilliant to see. And I'd imagine there'd be so many people on the DayZ server like, I survived for 1 month, I survived for 3 months or whatever. But I know there are some servers who do a kind of like a I wouldn't say a competition, but they do have like a leaderboard of like how long you have survived, because they can see that, certain servers can see that information. So having that as a standard vanilla feature would be brilliant. Absolutely go for it, I think. If the devs actually do that, which...
It was just a quick one that popped into my head. It was just because obviously I watch a lot of streamers. I've watched Marks, I've watched the Running Mans, I've watched Taupe, and loads of others. And it's like when you see them log out, or if they're live stream, you see them log out. They've got their time alive on it. It's, obviously, as you say, they're not correct most of the time. But
yeah,
if it was to work, it's like that. It's like I always select a certain character. I think it's Survivor 18. He's blonde, got a good haircut, and when you get him geared up, he fits the clothing. Unlike some other characters, like the women don't fit the clothing; they look like men when they're dressed. In a sense, but I get so invested in my character and playing along and playing with my friends and that. And I've been alive for so long, and they're like, "How do you know you've been alive for that long?" It's like, well, I can't tell you exactly because it doesn't tell me, but you know you've played for so long. You're like that. I'd like to keep that as a sort of thing. Like Boydie says, just take a screenshot, share it with your mates, sort of thing.
Because there's already elements in the game of like how far along your character's gone, because your beard grows out and whatnot, especially in the male characters. I don't know what happens for the female characters, but there's already some kind of like basic progression for your character there. So just to actually have something that is absolutely final at the end of the tunnel, like you survived this like however long. How many kills you got, like how many infected you killed, and how long you have actually traveled on foot, and like, wow, bloody hell, I've traveled like the entire bloody diameter of the planet, and I'd love to see stuff like that. That'd be absolutely brilliant. I wonder how possible it would be though, considering the main menu bit doesn't even bloody work most of the time. So.
Yeah, why did they add that if it doesn't even work? What a stupid...
It's always been there, I think.
It's
ever
always,
since Alpha.
yeah, since...
But
no, I think it came in one when 6.3 hit.
Right, yes.
When they
yes,
updated.
it did.
And it never worked from day one.
No. I think they just had it as like kind of like a concept thing, like just as a placeholder, and then they never really got around to it. They have made improvements on it in the past. They claimed to have fixed it. Along with the character creation, which the character creation does actually work now.
I can claim that they haven't fixed it.
I can claim that they bloody have. But seriously, yeah, so they definitely need to touch up on that, because it's kind of like, yeah, sure, you got multiple characters and multiple different servers, but when you and your mates, you'll get kicked off the server, and every single one of you has traveled exactly 1 kilometer and is killed exactly 3 people and killed exactly like 400 infected. It's like, something's not right here. Especially when one of them has just spawned in. Something's not right there.
It'd also be nice to have like a personal best probably on like the home screen if it was possible for your account. But on console, you got your name on the top right, so it knows obviously what account you're playing on, who you are. Just beneath it could just have a PB. It's your personal best, how long you survived on that character, and it can drive you to go, I want to survive longer. I want to do it more. I want to do this now. I want to travel this far, etc.
Are there achievements on console?
There are actually.
Because I don't think there is on Steam. There's not something like killed 100 zombies or killed your first bear and things like that.
Yeah, well,
that's something I've always felt that was lacking from DayZ. They should have that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I think one of the best trackers around is if you play PUBG. You go into the tracking in that. That'll give you a grade. Like Boydie, you shared that graphic of the different types of players in DayZ. You've got the adventurous player, you've got the sweaty, and all that sort of stuff. Well, when you play PUBG and you go into the menu, it gives you a rating. It'll be based on do you drop near other players, how far do you travel, how many times you get into gunfights, how long do those gunfights last. And then in something like DayZ, you could have, well, how far away from the coast do you travel? How close do you get to Tizzy? Do you ever go close to any of the major towns? Do you tend to walk along the roads all the time? Do you all tend to spend your time in the forest? Do you come near other players? All that sort of stuff. So you can have like that sort of thing, whether you're a solo player or you're like a team player or a cannibal or something like that. That's really cool.
It was interesting. Jad's just written in chat when you talked about having characters who live for a long time, Pixel. The first person I thought of was Vigilante Gamer as well. He used to talk about how long his characters have been alive for in his videos, and it's something I think that is missing from especially a lot of content creators, Marks. And this is not a bad thing, but the overwhelming philosophy amongst content creators is they really don't care how long their characters are alive for, as long as they get a good story with them. It was good to have someone back in the day who, yes, he never became a massive content creator. I think he only had about 10K subs or so on YouTube, but it was, even Mr. Blackout back in the day, during the golden era, was another one who, whilst his characters, it was a lot of careful editing. He gave the illusion that his characters had been alive for a long time, that having a big, long, massive adventure with your character, which it's not for everyone, but it's a great thing to have, Pixel, to value the life of your character.
Yeah, definitely. It's what my main thought behind that was as well. It's just something that you can look forward to. You died one night, you get angry, you get over it in the morning, go to work or school or whatever, come home and you're like, right, well, it's time to beat that now. Like,
yep. Yeah, not for everyone. You could have the board could show all sorts of stats. Killed X amount of players while I'm alive. So those who want to go for the more PvP, break their record for their PB on how many people they killed in that life, could do that. But those who hunted 10 bears or something like that, healed 20 strangers, and like I just showed in the background. Scum has achievements for puppets are more enjoyable than you. Thug killed 10 players, those sorts of things. But DayZ doesn't have anything. I don't know why. I think it's something missing from DayZ as a game on the workshop.
I think they just have. Again, it's just down to the size of the team. They have bigger things to be worrying about than adding. They're all very little. Things they could add in. Down the road, I guess, more people on a team, but right now they have bigger things to be kind of worrying about, I think.
They were definitely talking about features. Sorry, go on.
No, go on, Pixel. Go on.
No, I was just going to say, like I read their reply on Twitter earlier, they mentioned that they're looking at doing more features for the game, like whether it be in-game or out-of-game. It could be something that they could look into as just a quick thing for certain people that are into that sort of thing, that like enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you've got number 11 here, more wildlife. What more could they add, though? What more could they add?
Well, at the moment, depending how you have birds work. I mean, you always hear the birds in the woods if you're travelling through. I don't know if you hear them like during your plays, but you could have like little rabbits, hares, most other sort of animals that you'd find anywhere out and about. I mean, I live in the UK, so we haven't really got a wide variety. But you've got wolves. Why can't we have a fox or stray dogs?
Correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't they used to have a fox in DayZ?
Yeah, they did have a
Even
fox.
in
There's also, I believe, in the very early days of Standalone. I could be wrong there. My first patch was 0.59, but I mean, in the game files, there's rabbit meat. So
the rabbit skins are there as well, and DayZ expansion used them, but they had to use the chickens framework to get them to.
Yeah, and it looks very weird.
Yeah,
a good one in chat here from Nobody Mellow. Feral dogs in cities, and Dance of Jesus has confirmed in 0.54 they did have foxes. So my memory is not as bad as I thought it was.
Yeah.
But feral dogs would be a great one, actually.
Oh god, yeah, that's something that cities need. They need that extra PvP element because, yeah, sure, you've got your infected, but just imagine, you've killed all the infected in the area, you're just looting around, and all you hear is like the howls of like a pack of stray dogs, is like feral dogs. And you might think, oh, they're wolves, but no, they're just obviously dogs, and they'll be a little bit weaker than wolves, but it's still that's still a really, really cool element. I mean, I would love to see, like I said, birds is something like trying to, like, if you're really desperate and you haven't got that many bullets left, shoot a bird down, skin it, Heck, it could be something when and if they ever bring bows back, they got the feathers. Shoot down a bird, you got your feathers, sword.
To make more arrows of it.
Yeah, I mean...
Yeah.
Need the bows first.
They need everything else first. They need an animator first. Come on. But yeah, that would be really, really cool. But yeah, I mean, when it comes to animals, apart from that, it's very difficult to really think about what else they could add.
What's native to Russia? The sable.
The what?
The sable. I think it's called a sable. It's
Yeah,
like a saber tooth tiger cat.
Oh,
But it's
right.
native to Russia. You got the lynx as well. Loads of different types of like animal. Whether they're hostile or not, it doesn't really matter. It's just something else in the game for you to.
I'd like to
Yes.
say just animated like boars and stuff. So like a boar would chase after you if you
Yes.
attack it.
I
Maybe
would
they add
love
bulls,
aggressive
so
boars.
the cows don't do
Yes.
anything; they'll still run away. But bulls will they could kick or
Knock
something.
you into prone or something.
Yeah, like
Goats-
chase after you and
The
stuff.
goats bloody try and butt you. Break your
You
leg.
butt me, mate. I'll fucking butt you back.
Cool if you could see deer fighting each other and
Oh,
walk
yes.
through a forest. Just hear like a clash and they're just headbutting each other.
I've said this one
Yeah.
before
To make
with the
the-
birds. You mentioned birds. A good one would be Scalespeeder, that when you fire a shot, if they do add birds, the birds fly off to give away your location. So it makes the camping guy in his ghillie suit, people get a rough idea of where he is now because all the birds in that area flew off.
Yeah, I mean that happens in Warzone, doesn't it? When somebody's moving through the woods in that Call of Duty Battle Royale. I think they
No,
should have
no,
zombie
that's a good
animals as
idea.
well.
Yeah.
Quite similar to Vigor as well. If you've ever played Vigor or Vigor.
Yeah.
Yep.
When you're
Yeah,
running
bit
towards
bigger.
the exfil, birds fly off, notifying anyone else that's around that people are escaping.
That is actually really dope. Yeah, because there's a mod already out there which adds birds to corpses. So when somebody dies, the birds circle around. It'd be really cool if, like, in a certain amount of radius, depending which gun you use, like every now and again, birds actually you hear the scuttle of the birds and then they'll fly away, and just actually seeing them fly away. That mate, that would make the world just seem a lot more
Alive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God, I'd love to see that.
You mentioned bring back berries and have traits again. Some save you when dying of hunger, but you pick the wrong ones, they'll slowly kill you or make you so ill you need medication. Now, because I'm really bad. I keep on saying I've got to go play official again, but some servers I do play. The thing is, I don't bother looking for berries anymore. Are berries unofficial or not?
No,
No.
No.
So
they haven't been in a long time. I don't think.
yeah.
I think it was 1.8, 1.9 when it come onto console. I remember breaking down a few bushes and I had some blackberries. I don't know if that was something similar to 'cause the recent update. They still had the experimental eggs in official, and they weren't meant to be, and they removed them pretty quick.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if it's something that was in the game, but they activated them, and then they started spawning. Then it was like, oh, we don't want that, get rid of them.
Yeah, I mean, having more kind of like PVE kind of like food, like the berries, and you've got to be careful. It's another element of like words gone, like another element to the PVE aspect of the game where you have to really think about. I have these berries. I'm close to death. I need to eat something to at least get my hydration or energy up just a little bit. And it'd be really good for farmers as well. Like if you're able to grow your own berry bushes and to do whatever and to go on from there. But having like the poisonous berries that can be detrimental, you can have it in like varying different levels where some will make you quite sick and then others can just outright can kill you, you know? If you're not really, really careful and you don't have the proper medical attention. That would be really dope. I'd love to see something like that. I'm pretty sure berries are still in the files. I'm not too sure. I haven't had a look in quite some time. But it would be really, really nice to have something like that in the game. It would need more stuff like that.
I've just never bothered with searching for them in so long. I used to. They used to be part of the dying, being able to dye gear and that. But
Yes.
they became sort of superfluous to the game, Marks.
Yeah, I've never even remember back in the alpha days. I've never seen them. I've never used them. I don't think, but
Mhm.
I mean,
Yeah.
they could be a feature if you're dying, but
Yeah.
who knows?
Now, what's this idea with a sleeping bag? Are you talking about like a respawn? You die and you respawn back at a sleeping bag you've laid somewhere or something? I didn't quite understand this one, Pixel.
With it, like obviously you log out and you log back in, you spawn straight back where you was. Maybe have it like you always spawn at a certain point. If you've already travelled inland, when you log out, you'll be put somewhere else, just so you can't sort of. If you see someone building a base, you go inside the base, you log out, and then you go on to play as like another character on another account, like you can on PlayStation or Xbox. You can just log back in when they've got their big base, raid it done, and they get sick of playing the game, and then they move on. Whereas a sleeping bag, you could use it to set your spawn point for when you log back in. It's your base, or wherever you've placed it is where you will spawn back into the game, not necessarily as a respawn.
I don't know how I feel about this one, Scalespeeder. I kind of like the way it is, where I know it can be abused with douchebags with their dual accounts and all the rest of it, where they'll, a fresh server, they'll run to a place they know someone will always build a base, log out a character there and wait for someone to build a base and then log in inside their base. But it's kind of something you have to be aware of. I don't know, Scalespeeder. What are your thoughts?
So are we saying this sleeping bag is there a bit like Rust, where if you die, you can respawn at the sleeping bag? Is that what it is?
Not a respawn as such. It's so like, say I've run inland and I log out in Tissy military base. When you log back in, you've either got the risk of dying or you got the risk of getting the jump on someone because you've only just logged in. But if you have like a sleeping bag, it'd take a lot to get. But say it just like moves you a couple kilometers away.
Right. So it's like a fast travel sort of point that you could have one on the map that you could put somewhere, and you could either spawn back in where you exited, or you could spawn back in where your sleeping bag is, which is somewhere. Yeah,
more the other way around. So it's like use the sleeping bag. That's where you want to log back in.
Right. Okay.
This is when you log out. But if you log out without using one, you'll just spawn a couple kilometers away from that area, or maybe even just a few 100 meters.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting idea. I think it would be a cool thing to have as a mod, like on PC, or maybe on console.
Inclement Dab was, I think, trying to do it for that server that him and Erno were doing a while ago, but they were trying to do it, I think, for base raiding, where you would put like a sleeping bag down that, but I think they just come up that it was just too hard to balance, and so it was never done. It was just too complicated.
Or even potentially have it as another storage device. Instead of a tent, you can have a sleeping bag with the 100 slots.
Yeah, a really quick, a really quick thing to build. I definitely agree with that. We could definitely do with something apart from wooden box. You can make really quick.
Improv shelter. You can make the improv shelter pretty quick.
True.
Lot of sticks.
A lot of sticks.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's got to be something that does take a bit of effort to make. Otherwise, people will just abuse it and bog servers down with storage devices everywhere.
I don't know. I think it would be something you would find. You'd find the sleeping bag, like what you find the rucksack. You go into a shop and there would be maybe even it would attach to the mountain backpack. That's you would pick it up and go.
Question in chat from the YouTube audience, Hockhouse, no, mate. That Chernobyl or Pripyat map is a PC modded map. The only two maps available for console are the two official maps, Chernobyl and Livonia. So, sorry, mate. With the sleeping bag, I would like the idea of, even if it's a function that servers can turn off, but I would love to see sleep introduced on official.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where it's part of the Hell Retext mod, survival mod, where after X amount of time, your character has to lay down, or else they've got it set so that once you get to red sleep, you basically walk like you're badly injured. You're that fatigued, you're knackered. I would love to see that. Have it something that can be turned off for the PvP server, Scalespeeder. You sound like you like this idea as well.
Yeah, it's one of the things that's really missing, isn't it? I think.
Yeah.
Sleep. So yeah, absolutely. I think if you log off inside a tent, or if you log off inside a building, or you log off inside
And add an item
something
like
like
a sleeping bag, which gives you a bonus to.
Yeah, when you come back, you should be better off than if you've logged off. As you're running through a forest or something like that. If you've logged off like that and you come back, your character should be knackered. Straight away, or more hungry.
With the whole medical mod, Prixel, they've got a little Easter egg that if you lay down with a teddy bear in your hand, you regenerate your rest factor faster, which I thought was a really cool little addition. So when I play on those servers with that mod, one of the first things I always look for is a teddy bear, because you can use it for storage, and then you just stick it in your character's hand when you lay down, and you get 3 arrows going up instead of the normal 2 or 1, depending on where you are laying down. It's a really cool little addition.
Yeah. I mean, I really like it when you're coming to the end of a play session, and you've got a little tent in your backpack or in the back of your vehicle. Stop, set your tent up. You maybe have a bite to eat and drink. You go inside the tent, you sit down, and you log off.
Yep.
But there's no real benefit to doing that.
Yeah.
A bit of RP, I guess.
Yep. It's but horses for courses. I know Marks would never do that. Marks would probably usually log off when he dies for that last time on the PvP servers. But for those who do like the more immersive RP sort of thing, something like that would be great.
Absolutely.
Something that you can have some input on definitely though, Marks, the use of a team system. Do you use that on the PvP servers you play on that? Nameplates and that with the squad members?
Yeah, you have to. If you don't, you're kind of screwed.
What do you think of them adding that to official?
It would ruin it wouldn't work on official. Well, it would depend how they do it, because when you have that nameplate up and stuff, it's not very immersive at all. It is ugly to have it there, but you kind of need it in the PvP ones where you're constantly running, so you don't shoot your teammates, because there's been many of a time where we don't have them on a server and you've nearly shot your teammates, or you accidentally have.
Poor comms.
The armband system is what most people, I think, use in like official if you're doing something. But yeah, I think that the main reason people play official is for the survival aspect. I don't think a group system would be not say useful, but I just don't think it would fit the official type of immersive gameplay.
Anything you want to add to that one, Pixel?
No, I completely agree. It was just one of them things. It's like when you wear a green armband, it blends in with your green military clothing. It's a bit odd, even if you know that your friend's wearing that colour. If an enemy team is wearing that colour as well, like it's, oh yeah, that's my friend, so you shoot, yeah.
Plus, one thing I'd say that they could do straight away would be to add double armbands. Because having single armbands, if you're on the left-hand side of your mate and he's got the yellow armband on his right and you don't see that yellow armband, you're going to probably shoot at him. So a double armband system, which I know some servers have as a mod on PC, would be just a great little addition straight up to make it a bit easier for official servers / console players to identify.
But where you could have a custom armband.
Someone in chat saying that's vanilla double armband. Is that correct?
It's not on vanilla.
I'm not sure, actually. Don't think it's on official vanilla, no.
No, it's modded, I believe. It's only one on your left arm.
Choco's saying it's in his server, so I think you'll find it's a mod, but we'll look into that one. If there's anyone who can confirm or deny that one, that'd be good to know. But signs, painting, or notes, yes. It needs to be there. I know people. So they're saying combine 2 armbands, and it makes it. Maybe that is. We'll have to look into that.
I'm literally loading offline mod up right now. I'll check it.
Okay, good. But yes, signs, paintings, or notes. People will abuse it. You'll have dickheads who put racist stuff and all the rest of it. But at the end of the day, it's an R-rated game. There should be a way to maybe be able to report, or it captures in the logs what's going on. But it needs to come back in, especially being able to write notes. Scalespeeder, I used to love writing a note and leaving it on my character because I'm such a passive friendly player. I'd leave a note with a little story so that the person who killed me, maybe they didn't even bother to read the note. They just took what they wanted and ran off. But if they did read it, they got a little story or something like that. What about you?
Yeah, I agree. You should definitely be able to leave messages for people. Ruster's got a great one where you there's a Polaroid camera. I don't know if there's a Polaroid camera mod in DayZ where you can take pictures and then you can write a note on the bottom of the Polaroid. You can leave for people.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
Pretty cool. Yeah, it should be in the game, shouldn't it? Did it used to be in the game? Because there's in the XMLs, there's definitely pens.
Notes were in the game. You used to be able to write notes back in pre-.63. And it doesn't seem like it'd be that hard of a thing to implement, lad. Notes at least.
I know that there's a notes mod on the workshop already, which brings back some kind of functionality to notes as well. But I'm not too sure on the functionality of it in the past. Back when notes were a thing, I was just starting to play DayZ, didn't understand a bloody thing. And now it's very, very difficult to go back to see how exactly it was done before. But it's like, since I just got back, I don't know what else we've just discussed, so apologies for that. But one thing I really do find interesting about DayZ is that all the books, you know how they don't spawn anymore? All the books in the past, they were actual full books. You could read.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's a shame that they don't have that, but it's simply because of legality. I'm not allowed to do that anymore. So obviously the best thing to do is just get rid of it.
How did you go, Mark? Did you manage to create a double armband?
I can confirm it's only one armband. Can't combine two to make one.
Yep.
Double armbands only is just a modded item. I think it's masses.
Masses, and Choco's just said that in chat. Shit, I'm sorry, that's because the Masses item many overhaul mod has double armband, so yeah. Rework base building. The first point you say, I 100% agree with, mate. It's good for servers, as I understand it as well. People being able to just lock down an existing structure. The more doors mod, I would love to see that somehow ported over to official, because it just makes sense that as a survivor, you would be more likely to lock down an existing structure as opposed to building a big freestanding McMansion that really bogs down server performance and all the rest of it. And I know I should remember the name of the person, and please forgive me for forgetting. I know someone was working on a mod that would enable you to lock existing doors in the game rather than having to create a second door. But that
was Wardog.
Wardog, there you go.
Was it Wardog or was it Jacob Mango? It was one of them two.
Wardog.
Yeah.
I think Jacob Mango was involved, but yeah, Wardog was the one working on that. But yeah, the base building is very ordinary in DayZ and vanilla.
Remember
especially when you can't build anywhere.
Yeah. Remember I done a video showcase on a vanilla, I think it was Plus base building mod that came out a while ago. That was the one that was took down. Yeah. Even that one added to vanilla would change things, make a night and day difference.
Definitely. I mean, it would be really, really nice if there was an addition to the base building that we have now, because in terms of vanilla, it's very, very difficult to try and balance how you can raid, because right now, 6 to 8 grenades, just plunk it down in one spot, drop pull the pin, drop one, run away, boosh, you're in a base. And that can pass over to community. So you got to really balance that. But what would be really, really cool, and something that I want to work on, I've always wanted to work on, is reinforcing pre-existing buildings, not by only just locking a door, but to actually build a door-sized and window-sized kind of reinforcement out of like sheet metal and wood. Being able to have something like that.
More doors has that.
Yeah, so it'd be really, really interesting if the DayZ dev team takes some kind of like pointers from that kind of system, trying to implement an enhanced base building featurette and go on from there, and also really rebalance how base building functions. And when it comes to snapping, what's really interesting, and in terms of map editing, there are a few items, there's a few models which actually do allow snapping when you put stuff together, but those points disappear when it all becomes binarized. So having some kind of functionality like that on base building stuff for your fences and for your gates and watchtowers would be a godsend. I want that. Bring it in. If Base Building Plus can do it, why can't you?
But it is a good point, Pixel. Definitely, the base building in DayZ is quite ordinary on vanilla, especially without being able to build anywhere. But as Moxidon says in chat, Pixel, it would be a bonus to expand on base building, but I love the challenge of pushing the limit in creative ways. So I imagine you've gotten quite creative with building bases on console.
Me personally, we've taken over quite a few buildings. The main hospital building in Severograd, that building there, that's perfect. It lines up perfect with walls from one end of the building to the other, right at the front near the shop windows. It lines up perfect. You take that, and then you've got the sets of stairs. You put gates up. It's just certain areas you can build on, the certain areas. It's like it's got the right height, it's got the right width, but it just won't let you place it. So you're stuck. You're like, right, well, this would have been perfect, but I can't now. I've got to move on and find something else and carry all this gear with me and risk losing it.
And even just, like in the big warehouse buildings, there's one thing that's, an item that they placed on the floor, and that means you can't build something over the top of that. And it can be quite frustrating building in those without Build Anywhere. So, yeah, even Build Anywhere would probably be an interesting one. But bicycles and mini carts, that's definitely one that goes across all platforms, but I just don't see it happening anytime soon. Scalespeeder, you?
Yeah, it would be nice to see it as a mod on PC first. Then maybe they could bring it over to consoles as well to license it or something like that.
Well, we've got Jacob Mango's motorbike mod. You just made me remember that, Scalespeeder.
Yeah, I guess a cart that you could push along would probably be pretty cool, because
storage.
We've all been there, drag it. When you found a barrel and you'd been trying to take a barrel to your base.
Yep. A wheelbarrow would be a nice thing.
A wheelbarrow or a dolly, something that you could just put something that was really heavy on, that was full of stuff, and then push it around. Because that's probably something that you would do in the apocalypse, wouldn't it? You would. Oh yeah. You would drag stuff around like that, or even what are those things called that you drag behind you that you normally have like a casualty on that don't have wheels?
Stretcher or sleds.
Yeah, like a sled sort of thing that you could. So something like just to expand our options without having to go to the M3S or car
Again,
strip.
probably limited by the lack of a animator
animations.
in the team.
Yeah.
But no, definitely something. Mate, you had a lot there that was worthy of discussion, though. I like your little summary here.
Absolutely.
The console is so plain, any adjustments to towns or cities being made a little more dense could make the map more interesting. Having different types of infected, well, you got that. Harder, faster, more agile, jump at you. Bigger, slower zombies which have more powerful attack. 1 to 2 hits could cause you to go uncon. Scavengers that would attack a corpse, ruining gear, rendering it useless if you don't get to it quick enough. Infected that only roam over nighttime. Screams or roars through the map, etc. That would be good. Some good ambient sounds. Hearing the zombies when you're approaching the Northwest Airfield. That'd really add some vibes, wouldn't it, Marks? Something that's lacking.
Yeah, it would.
But no, that was a pretty good discussion. Anything you'd like to add, Scalespeeder?
No, I think there's some really brilliant points. Yeah, well brought up, well said. And yeah, I think for me, if I was to talk about the things that I would want to come from that is licensing. As we said at the beginning, the trader mod, bring that over. So you could have safe zones as well. License more doors, 100%. License Winter Churnerus, license the mouths, and give us a little bit of access to init.c. We don't need much. You'd be quite amazed with the stuff that the guys and girls have been able to do on console with building and with modding and all that sort of stuff. And we've done an awful lot. We just need a little bit more, and console DayZ could really take off even more and kind of get a second win to take it into the next few years. And I think for me, Trader
Yes. Yep. As much as I'm not a fan of them, but I think a trader would go a long, long way.
Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely.
Now,
Especially if it's done in a good way. But yeah.
what's going on here? Why has my... There we go. That's what I'm... That big. Because it's a console episode, I teed this topic up ahead of time. Livonia. So, Marks, you are in the shit map camp
It
of this
is
one. Probably the biggest
atrocious.
bit of feedback I got on this poll I did, and I've got two polls, but they both were pretty similar, is that the majority of people don't mind Livonia, contrary to what people, kind of believe. That I think Livonia's biggest hamper, Scalespeeder, was the price wall.
Yeah, but I mean, it goes in the sale quite often.
Yeah.
So I kind of think if you're a DayZ fan and you want to support the game, you can drop, what is it, like £10 or something?
10 to
$10
15, something like
when
that.
they put it in this, just to get it, support
It's on
the
sale
game.
right now too, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Give some rack a few bucks and then go and explore a very interesting take on DayZ. I think. I mean, when we're talking about a few years after the infection started, I kind of feel like Livonia is like that, isn't it? 'Cause as you go further south, there's a lot more abandoned buildings and wrecked and strange bunkers and stuff like that. Yeah, I really enjoy Livonia. I wish I had more time in it. So yeah, I think it's a
across
great
both
map.
Twitter and Reddit, the poll was pretty much the same, lad. Most people like the map.
It's I don't really see, personally, I just don't really see the appeal in it. It just I think I don't know. I got the map from Ike D, who was in the chat before. I got it from him for free, so I was like, okay, I really want to try out the map. I was bringing bears into the time. I was like, oh, get in, bears, let's bloody go. I played the map, and it was just, it was a flop for me. I couldn't get into it. I think it's because of the complete tonal shift compared to Chernarus, which is like, it's run down, it's grey, it's battered, it's all that kind of stuff. Something that we've all grown accustomed to. And then you have Livonia, which has some signs of things being run down, but generally it's all nice and bright and colourful, and it's like, I can't get with the tonal shift. I just can't. Is that kind of theme
I love it.
element.
I love it. I love Livonia.
I know this, obviously, judging by the polls, there's a lot of people who really enjoy the map, and you know what? More power to you. The only thing that I like about Livonia is some of the building assets has been great to use. That's about it. Like, that's all I can really say about that, to be honest.
I'd say if you had to ask, a lot of the people who probably own Livonia are probably majority console players. Which, I mean, in that case, then of course they're going to like the map more when they only have two options. But when we have, on PC, we have, how many maps is there now? Custom one's like 20 or something like that. It's a lot.
Yeah.
Livonia is one of the worst when it comes to when you're including the modded maps as well. And just so I can cover my own back here, when I say I don't like Livonia, and if somebody comes into my stream and asks should they buy Livonia, I always tell them if they think they're going to like it, buy it. I always say personally, it's not my opinion, but person asking me, they might like it more. I'm never like, no, don't buy that map, it's terrible. I always, say if they think they like it, just give it a go. It's not that expensive.
I do agree that with the spawns bill being up north, there needed to be more attention paid to the south of the map to give people a reason to want to travel. The reason is enough for me. I love getting down there and hunting the bears and getting lost in the forest and all the rest of it. But they could have put, the same as in DayZ, you spawn on the coast, you travel to the northwest because that's where all the good loot is. Livonia does lack that. A lot of the big stuff seems to be in the middle of the map. And then you've got that one military base and a town all the way down in the southeast corner. But other than that, the southwest corner of the map is borderline barren. It is a funny map in that regard, but as a more of a PvE survivalist sort of player, it really appealed to me, and I just love the forest. I love the different look of it. Pretty much everything you said you don't like about it, lad, is stuff that I do like about it.
Yeah.
I love it. I love its difference, that it's not just a carbon copy of Chernarus.
Yeah, I mean, what I would really, really like to see in Livonia, which is something which I wish it was done in when it was first introduced, is that because right now there's a lot of stuff in the south which it's just pure forest and there's not very many POIs, and yeah, sure, you got the hunting elements, but what would have been really, really cool is to have a hidden military location, like really run down. Nature's proper took it over. There's a bunker system, just something, because there's plenty of space for it. It's just they just never they had the opportunity and they didn't take it, and to me that's a bit of a shame, because it is, as you say, it's like everything you like about it I don't. It would take me in more if they'd done something a bit more unique with the map. It's one of the reasons why I like Namalsk. Yes, it is a modded map, but it was a complete, again, tonal shift from what Chernarus was, but it done it in a really unique way that made me very intrigued about the map in and of itself, like the underground sections, the lore behind it, how the weather affects the character, obviously the frostbite. There was just so many stuff added to it that made that map more unique. But with Livonia, the only unique thing about it was bears, and they brought it for Chernarus, so it was like, what's the point, to me, at least? Like, that's everything that Chernarus has done is on Livonia, but just done in a what's the word I'm looking for? Just not in a as good as Chernarus did. But there's always time, and there's always a chance for the devs to go into Livonia and be like, okay, let's bring it some more love. Let's bring it some more life. Because I remember when Livonia was actually introduced, they had like a Chernarus patch, Livonia patch. Now it's just nothing. And it's like, can we please have some improvements for Livonia for the people that's actually paid for it? It's a DLC map.
What do you think of it, Pixel?
Livonia.
Yeah.
Personally, I don't like it. I feel it's a bit small. It's good for the PvP if you're definitely into that. I just feel it's all a bit too bunched together. It's that there wasn't a lot put in, like you're saying. The southwest edge is quite bland, just woods. Nothing really there. It's like they could have done a bit more with it before pushing it. I reckon it would have been a bit better if things were a little bit more spaced out, because I feel everything's a bit too close along the Northern River. It's just town, and then anything below that is just fields.
Well, they've done reworks of Chernarus Scalespeeder, so maybe they will do a rework of Livonia.
Yeah, and I think I always like to think that when Bohemia or any other software developer or publisher that you like what they do, start going in the right direction, you should maybe just consider sometimes supporting these things as a financial support for BI. Right. For example, like with Call of Duty, when they switched over to the Battle Pass system instead of having a Season Pass that walled the maps behind, that was a really good thing that they did when they did that. And it opened up the game for lots of the community. And I would always say in my videos then, I would say that buy the Battle Pass, but we're doing it because the Battle Pass is good fun, but also because you're showing Activision, this is how we want the game to be monitored. I think with things like Livonia, I think it's, if you've played a lot of DayZ, I think maybe, you should buy it anyway. You should take the opportunity to give Bohemia Interactive more money, like with Armour, when the DLCs come out for that. Give them money for the creator DLCs, because we want to encourage BI.
The one comeback I'm going to come back with that Scalespeeder is I agree with you that you should support the companies that you enjoy the product of. But right now, how many times today have we said the biggest setback they have right now is no animator on the team? A lot of people would be more than happy to give them more money, whether it be through DLC or a map or something like that. But we're just not seeing the investment from Bohemia Interactive back into DayZ. And that's what worries me. And I'm pretty sure, Marks, you'd agree with that as well.
Yeah, it's like they've probably made a lot of cash, I would assume. We don't know numbers, but I would assume after Livonia sales alone, they've made a decent bit of pocket change. And I'm assuming it would be enough to hire an animator, maybe 2 if needed. But I think they're probably investing it all into the Armour, whatever that new Armour franchise is. It's just all their cash revenue from any games is just going straight to that.
Yeah, I mean, right now we're going through a Bohemia sale, which is great. So if you want to get on top of that, go for it. But that's it at the end of the day. Like, all the money that is going towards DayZ is obviously going towards the current dev team. And they've recently just hired a junior community manager, which, congratulations to him. Don't get too pressured by Spaggy asking about Xbox all the time, all right? But I would say, yeah, all the money apart from that, it is going towards Armour Reforger or Armour 4, whatever they want to call it. Yeah. They have no interest. Otherwise, it would have been done a long time ago now. They would have either kept the animator or replaced them. I do find it quite funny, though, that going back to when Inclement Dab was doing his community spotlight, and he unveiled that Bohemia attempted to hire him, but he turned them down. I find it funny that they're willing to do that, but they're not willing to do, like, to hire an animator for new stuff and old stuff. It's just, it doesn't make any sense. Like, we all know Armour Reforger and Armour 4, whatever it's going to be, is going to be a success. Just let one person off of that team just come back to the DayZ dev team, give the community some love, get back some of those old assets, bring in something new. I mean, Howard, they teased the M429 or whatever they bloody call it way back in 2017, 2018, something like that. And it's still not in the game. Like, what are they thinking? Get it in, please. Bring us an animator. God damn it, please.
Like, even then, like, they have the one of the DayZ Aftermath. We talked about it last week. Like, he's making animations for the M249. He's made them for the AUG. He's making them for the crossbows, the bows. He's making them for all the other guns that used to be in the game as well. And it's like, spend a couple £100, maybe a couple grand, buy them off him. Helps Aftermath servers out. Helps the game out in general. It's going to bring in more sales. It's a win-win situation. But I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely need something done in that regard, and we've said every single podcast that as specifically that I've been on, that we need some kind of like support from the team in that in terms of animate. Because yes, sure, it's really, really cool that we have new stuff coming in. Like we got the new magazines, we got the new optic, great. We got new melee weapons, which again, it's fantastic. In the 1.12 patch, we had the introduction of some older items that used to be in the game. Again, fantastic. But the one thing that the community would really like is, bows back, crossbows, the AUG, the Red 9, stuff like that. Just something that can make it more unique.
Mate, I want the rack back. I want the rack. One of the worst guns. You saw that in a police station and I'm not picking that piece of shit up. If I found that now, I would be the happiest fucking kid on the block, Scalespeeder.
Yeah.
Oh, God, yeah.
Absolutely. All this stuff should come back. But I've kind of, we always, I don't want to bring it up again, but, we bring up the subject of paying mods and finding ways to monetize it and things like that. But you've got a way, say with the Livonia map, and say, look, this is an official map that BI have brought out. If lots and lots of people buy it, then they'll be thinking, oh, right, maybe we should license the mouse and sell that for because it's going to make us some money.
Do some community DLC, Bohemia, for DayZ?
Well, absolutely. Something like that. And the community of Armour have bought, like, Prairie Fire and the other ones in their thousands. And they've made an awful lot of money. And yet here we are with an official map and people are saying, oh, I'm not going to bother buying it.
Yeah.
It's just got some bears on it or something. It's like, come on, people, spend the money.
But it's like the content that the modders for Armour were bringing out was nearly better than some of the content. Like, I know the most recent modder DLC that came out, there was a huge ton of backlash for it because it was all just recycled content. Half of it didn't work. It was janky. It was really rushed, apparently. So I watched a couple of videos on it. It was pretty bad. But like the one before that with the
Prairie
I think it was
Fire.
Vietnam stuff, Prairie Fire, was really good and it got great reception and stuff. So yeah, I don't see this going to. I think
There's
they're
got
going
to
to
be quality control
concentrate.
with the community DLC, Mark.
Yes.
There's got to be some good quality control in place. But if they do it right, it's a win-win for everyone.
It didn't seem like the most recent one had quality control in it at all, but it looks if you watch some
Yeah.
videos on it, it was really bad.
Yeah.
But I think what's going to happen is Bohemia is going to concentrate on Arma 4. Arma 4 is going to come out. If it becomes successful, I have a feeling they'll even cut the budget more on DayZ and they'll just completely focus on that, and they'll either try and squeeze DayZ out of it, or they'll have to do something, because I think this concentration on Arma is going to kill off DayZ.
Pixel, what map would you love to see the most as a community DLC?
For what in general for DayZ?
Yeah, that could come across to console as well as an official community map. What map would you like to see the most out of all the ones you watch us PC master race people playing on and go, fucking wish we could have that?
I quite like the look of Takistan, but I'm more swaying towards Namalsk just for the sheer size and how cold it is and the cities you have.
Yes.
Just something a bit more dense is what I'm looking for the most.
A
Bit of
short
urban
map.
warfare, should I say?
Too right. And just addressing what Moxie Don was saying in chat, do any of you feel that developers want to wash their hands of DayZ and move on? They just throw us a ball now and again with things we don't need. Yeah, completely.
Yeah.
We all love DayZ. Obviously, everyone, that's one of the reasons why we do the podcast. But
sorry,
yes,
let's just quickly clarify on that. The way he's worded that, not the devs, not the dev team. The dev team are
Not the dev
110%
team.
committed. Bohemia, you sometimes wish that they get this. They've got this feeling that they wish they'd never had DayZ come into their life.
Yeah.
yes,
Even you're nodding, Scalespeeder.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's the whole conspiracy theory, isn't there? That Arma is Bohemia Interactive is Arma. That's their baby. DayZ came along from this little upside, this little mod, and they've had to divert resources from their beloved Arma into DayZ. But what we do know is that DayZ has sold better than Arma, hasn't it? They probably made more money out of DayZ than they have out of Arma. So I'd imagine when they have their boardroom meetings with the brothers and the other guys, there's probably a few people who are arguing and have got DayZ t-shirts for DayZ.
I hope so.
And I think it's made enough, the player base is big enough, made enough money where hopefully when Arma Reforged or Arma 4, whatever starts to come out, we'll see more of a concentration on DayZ, and Samrak and Adam will get maybe a couple more people onto his team. I mean, we don't want DayZ chaining that much, because playing Arma and DayZ is so much more immersive than Arma.
Yes.
I mean, Arma is janky as anything. In DayZ, when you're in a forest, you feel like you're in a forest. Amazing. Arma, you don't. Arma's a real video game. I feel like DayZ's more of a simulation, but yes, fingers crossed. Patient.
Yeah, I mean, if I remember my Bohemia Interactive history correctly, when Arma 2 came around, the company was dying. It was pretty much on death's door. And then when DayZ as a mod came out, and Arma 2 got millions of sales.
Yeah, they sold like 1 million copies, didn't they?
Yeah, exactly. And DayZ single-handedly saved that company because, for whatever reason, the military contracts just weren't working out, which is why they brought Arma as a series out to the public. And it just kind of stemmed on from there. DayZ done DayZ done really, really well, helped a lot for the company, brought out Arma 3. Great. Then they decided to try and kill the game by giving a botched version amalgamation of the Arma 3 engine, which didn't fully work, so they were forced to develop their own engine in the background until 2018. And when that came out, it was brilliant, fantastic. And then Vigor came out, which uses Unreal Engine 4, so that was very weird. You guys had developed this new engine, which is really, really cool, but then you don't use it for any of your titles. And then Arma Reforger is being leaked, and it just looks like Armor 3. And then, you know, Armor 4 is going to be coming out, and that's touted to use the full Infusion engine. And then, well, what's happening to DayZ? Is there going to be a DayZ 2? Is there going to be a DayZ Armor 4 mod, which, by the way, I will play? Or is it going to just be one of those kind of IPs that they just
money is on they would develop an official DayZ mod for Armor 4, Armor Reforged, whatever you want to call it. What do you reckon, Marks?
Yeah, but didn't somebody say in chat a while ago, I think it was a modder said that the Armor series doesn't like people recreating DayZ in Armor or some shit like that?
They don't. From what I recall, the Armor 3 DayZ mod was pretty good for what it tried to do, but it just died. I don't know why.
Yeah.
But,
the reason is what Scalespeeder said before. It's janky compared to DayZ Standalone.
True.
Yeah,
I watched
it is.
I remember when they said Frankie was coming back and he was going to be making his videos on Armor 3. And I think I put a tweet out. Why the fuck would you use Armor 3 when you look at how janky the running animations and everything is by comparison to DayZ Standalone? I don't get it.
I don't get it either. It's extremely like I was saying before when Scalespeeder was talking about it. Armor 3 is just such a dated game right now, and it is in dire need of a replacement. High tenure at Bohemia Interactive, you know, them guys spent all this time developing, you know, this new engine, and, you know, Godspeed for them for doing it. And I'm not surprised they dipped when they did, but it seems quite insulting not only for them, but the community when this brand new engine was developed. And yeah, it's not 100% there, but like, we have literally no word on the future of DayZ. Like, especially when that conference was going on a couple of weeks back, last month or something like that, when the topic DayZ came up, they just didn't care. It's an insult. It's an absolute insult. Yes, DayZ is a 8-9-year-old game, but to be quite frank, it shaped the future of our current video game industry. The game needs to keep going in some shape or form. You can't just let it die.
It's such a proud legacy, and that's why so many of us feel so attached to the game, because you know there's so many other games out there that can tie their heritage back to DayZ. Which, you know, you can say ties its heritage back to Armor, but yeah.
Can I do something before we quickly move on?
Yes, sir.
I was just looking up how much Bohemia's Interactive have made last year in 2020, and it came up with an article from 2019, and it had some stuff with Livonia's DLC and stuff. And I wanted to kind of said about. They said this is from 2019. They made $68 million that year. They said DayZ performed especially well. This was the year it launched on PS4 and Xbox One during 2019 after several successful years on PC. The game sold over 1.1 million units in 2019, driving lifetime sales to 5.8 million. Additionally, the Livonia DLC sold 400,000 units since launching in mid-November of, I'm assuming that year. Armor 3 sold 2.6 million units, half of the base lifetime. So DayZ outperformed Armor that year in sales, and the Livonia DLC sold 400,000 copies at $10 to $15 a piece, which is a lot of money.
Oh yeah.
So it's not like they don't have the money to hire these people.
Like, seriously, like,
found that interesting.
That is actually really interesting, and it does actually raise more questions. It's like, yeah, sure, a lot of, like we've all said, like a lot of the funding that Bohemia gets from video games sales and contracts and whatever, it goes towards the development of the new Armor game. But you have other games, Bohemia. You have other games that need your love and attention, and your communities are soon going to start saying, why we're going to bother? Why do we care? You clearly don't have the heart and soul in your games anymore. We're just going to stop playing. And eventually your player base will start to dwindle. It happened back in 2017 and 2018 with DayZ itself, with the DayZ concurrent players, before 0.63 hit. When that update hit, oh God, DayZ blew up again. But correct me if I'm wrong, but even that player base is starting to dwindle again, because yes, the updates are coming in and they are good updates, but the stuff that the game needs, it's just not getting. And we need that love and attention. And sorry for getting all whatever, but the game needs it. The game absolutely needs it. And
The more we keep on saying it, the more they're likely to hear us. Hey, Scalespeeder.
Absolutely. You know,
And this comes from a place of love, doesn't it, Scalespeeder?
well, if you want to influence them, you can very rarely. It's quite difficult to influence them by shouting at them and screaming at them and complaining, all that sort of stuff. You know, but if you can maybe point them in the right direction with a few bucks and some warm encouragement, you know, who knows what might.
Give us a community DLC, folks. Put Namolsk as a community DLC. I know the PC crowd wouldn't need to buy because everyone's pretty much already got it for free. But I guarantee you that the console crowd would be out there in their droves. Isn't that right, Pixel?
Yeah, 100%. I already know my group would be straight up, grab that straight away. I'm pretty sure many other people would as well. It's such a good map. Watching, obviously, you PC Master Race guys playing it all the time. We're always watching this like that. It's like, we wish we could have this. We're stuck with just such a base vanilla game which restricted so much. To even just have a new map, it's something new. Everyone jumps on it. Everyone's on that bandwagon. Everyone's like, yeah, let's go, new map. Let's just see how it goes. And
it's a great way for them to tap into that pool of people who've got DayZ through the Xbox Pass, I think it's called, is it?
Yes.
Yeah. So, you know, okay, DayZ's got a new map out, $15. Yeah, I'll buy that. You know, I've got the game for nothing, so $15 for a map. That's a great way of tapping into some more cash for them. So, yeah.
You're right.
Something we should have talked about earlier when we were on the console topic was something you suggested as a topic for today, Scalespeeder. You were playing Xbox Flight Simulator on Xbox, mate.
Oh my god! Yeah, okay. So if anybody's got any doubt about what they can do now on the next gen console, just watch some footage of Microsoft Flight Simulator playing on an Xbox Series S or an Xbox Series X. It's unbelievable. It's absolutely amazing. It looks great. It plays great.
Look at that forest.
And you can fly around the world. You can go. I need your address so I can fly over here. I flew over Ayers Rock, or it's called now, shouting your name, Boydie, but you didn't reply. You can fly around London, anywhere. It's unbelievable. Running for 250 quid.
You just made a major foul par, mate. Apparently you're not allowed to call it Ayers Rock anymore. You have to call it Uluru.
Uluru, sorry, I do apologise. But yeah, so if you're ever thinking consoles are limited, Microsoft Flight Simulator, a full flight simulator.
That is some beautiful scenery, isn't it there, Marks?
Yeah, it is. It uses Google Maps and some other maps, some might have been Bing and I think maybe Apple or something as well.
It mainly uses Bing because Bing is Microsoft.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what it does is it combines satellite images with procedurally generated fauna and flora and building. And then it also has handmade stuff as well. So you can fly around London and all the buildings are kind of handmade. So they're all there. But you can say you go through Hong Kong or something like that. The buildings are procedurally generated, but still look absolutely amazing. You can follow your route to work. You know, what you drive. So I did it along the local motorway. It will blow you away. You'll be like, I can't believe this is working. And you can just spin up the globe, and you can say, right, I want to fly there. 30 seconds later, it loads in, and you're flying there. Yeah, and it shows you can. Yeah,
and
with the right software
online?
technology.
Is there other people flying?
So what you can do is you can choose what you want to have. So you can have live weather. So you can have whatever weather is outside your window can be the weather that you're flying through. You can have live planes flying around. You can have other players as well. You can have the normal time as well. Yeah, it's so if there was like a hurricane going across the Atlantic or something, you could hop in a 747 and try and fly through it in real time compared to the real weather that was happening at the same time. It's stunning. Absolutely.
It is.
250 quid, $10 a month. I'll be playing that.
It's a very good game to when somebody's live stream just to sit back and relax too. I've done that with a streamer. I watched when it first came out, and he was on PC, but he had like the entire controls, all the airplane controls and everything, and he had some kind of ambient music on in the background, and then just flying along, and he'd have some viewers fly along with him, and it was just so chill, and everybody was just
and there's
really relaxing.
And there's Top Gun DLC coming out in November.
Oh, really?
See, I mean, when it comes to consoles, like, especially for you guys, like, I grew up with the PlayStation 1, and, I even grew up partially with the NES, and still got it somewhere. Probably is in the cupboard. But it was just to see how far it's come. And, when Microsoft Flight Simulator, the current version came out, I was like, yeah, that's not coming out on consoles. That's just too much. And there you go. Like, you're getting mid to high tier performance of a PC in a little box, and it's fantastic. And honestly, I think I might have to get an Xbox Series S in my next paycheck. if there is any. Like, Jesus. But it's just brilliant. It's absolutely fantastic to see what it can be done. And it goes to prove that, anything is possible in console if the companies allow it. Simple as.
So, the other big topic you had, Scalespeeder, Survive Icarus, delayed.
Yeah, but they have expanded on their beta program. It's really cool. So from the end of this month, you'll be able to play the beta, and the way they've done it is if you buy the game, you can play it as much as you like up to 1.0, and if you don't like it, as long as you refund it before 1.0 comes out, you get full refund for how much you've played of the beta. So very exciting indeed. I think it's great the fact that they've recognised, look, it's not ready, let's delay it. Let's get it right. And if they delayed it again, no problem, get it right. We'll just play the beta like we play the test servers, and we can give them some feedback and help Dean come up with the next masterpiece.
And look, I've got to give him kudos as well, because no doubt the people who love to hang shit on him just because he lives and breathes will hang shit on him for delaying it. Oh, he's delaying again, yada, yada, yada. Yeah. But that's a big call that he did that, knowing that people would do that. So I salute him. I agree with you 110%, Scalespeeder, that it was a smart decision, because he said that they released DayZ earlier than he wanted to. But yeah.
And see, that's the thing with him actually developing and publishing the game himself. He has that ability, so he actually has that full control, and it's one of his first titles in a long time, which has actually picked up some kind of speed and some public presence, because he has developed games in between now and when he released DayZ standalone with Bohemia, and he made some very controversial opinions
out of ammo.
And and the games, they just didn't perform that well. But with Icarus, it's just something that's completely new, and the fact that it is delayed means that he knows what he's doing. He doesn't want to disappoint his community. He doesn't want to disappoint his fans. And he knows, and he is confident in his team's ability that they can eventually create a much better product. And the pre-order, the refunds of the pre-order and the system that he's got there is very, very good and very ballsy, if I do say so. Like, allowing anybody in that beta program to refund at any time, no matter how many hours you've played. So you could be cheeky, play every single day of the beta until the 1.0 release, and be like, right, I'll have my money back. And it's like, allowing people to do that is ballsy. He's got a lot of faith in his project, and I certainly hope he does absolutely amazingly with it, and I wish him absolutely all the best with it.
Raise your hand here if you've purchased it already.
I thought you might.
Yeah. I'm going to, but you were going to say, Marks?
I think since I heard about that, you can refund it at any time. It's tempting just to get it to make 1 or 2 videos on, maybe, but I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how the community reacts to something like that. I'd like to see how it goes, but again, I'm not holding, as of right now, much faith in him in this game until we see actual gameplay and stuff, because when a game gets announced and then it gets announced that it's delayed, it's always like, that's a big risk. We saw what happened with Cyberpunk. and look how that turned out. So I just hope it doesn't turn out like that, because if it does, he's going to never hear the end of it, and yeah, it's going to be a bad
If
day
anything,
for him.
Cyberpunk released earlier than it should have. I know they set a schedule, but they should not have released it in the state it was in. So
the investors were just down their throats. Yeah. They had to. They had no other chance.
Let's also remember that the fact that the game was in development so long, that the actual game that we got has been only in development for about 2 or 3 years, because they completely scrapped everything. They scrapped the story and restarted, but they didn't tell anybody. They just told the investors. I mean, Howard, there was a story, what was it, a couple of weeks ago, where the developers created an internal video to take the piss out of all the bugs and that of the game, and they didn't even bother fixing them. And it was like, you have absolutely no love or faith in your community, your player base. You just want their bloody wallets, and it's a disgrace. And it's the same with like what's going on with really going away from DayZ, but like what's going on with Activision Blizzard. There's rumors that Blizzard is trying to separate from Activision because of all this, which I really hope they do. Bungie did, and that Destiny 2 has been going boosh ever since. And the fact that they have full control about what's going on there, props there. And, yes, sure, the devs for Cyberpunk, they are going in, they are fixing what they can. The fact that they have done what they did at launch is one of my friends has said when he first played, which game was it? Fallout New Vegas, I think it was. I can't remember exactly which one it was. When that game first came out, it was a buggy mess, and even though it improved a lot since then, he's never touched it. He never will, and because of that connotation. And a lot of people the same with Cyberpunk 2077. The game came out as a buggy mess, and people will always refer to it as that. So they're not going to have the full player base they expected because they were greedy. And it's an absolute shame. And Dean Hall is not doing that. Absolutely not. And like I said, I really do hope the absolute best for him. I will probably be opting into the beta at the end of August once I get my paycheck. And we'll see what happens. And I absolutely, again,
they
the best.
They have a thing there. I've just seen it for content creators where you can get a beta key or something like that.
Let's get in that.
That's what I'm just signing into it right now. Try and get into it.
Straight away.
It's not working for me. Oh,
man.
I'm going to buy it. I just like the idea of buying it to support it because I know a lot of people aren't fans, but I am a fan of Dean Hall, and I'll buy a copy of it. And regardless of whether I like the game or not, I won't refund it, provided it's not a buggy, broken mess like Fallout 76 was, which I still cry about. And I wasn't able to refund that because I bought a hard copy.
I mean, to be fair, ever since Dean Hall liked one of my pictures on Instagram, I've been a fan of him ever since. So I mean, I can't really say.
Pixel, what about you, mate? Does this game interest you at all, buddy?
It does, actually. Having a look at it, I was just watching something else a second ago on it. So I had a look. Oh, it looks quite interesting. It's completely different to anything else that you usually see.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely looking at it and I'm thinking that's where my money's going to end up going.
Yep.
But yeah, it does look really good.
What else did we have on the agenda? Let me just click back to the weekly show agenda. This was a interesting article. I can't remember who shared this one. 10 games like DayZ you should check.
Yeah, I sent this one in.
Yes, this was a good article. So Day's gone. Has anyone played that?
No,
I have. I've done a few missions on. Relatively good. It's well made. But for me, I quite like the MMO side of things for a survival game. Unless you're into your own solo survival game.
Yep.
I'd recommend it definitely if you're up for something like that.
Project Zomboid. I've always felt I should get that because it's got Boyd in the name of it, but I've never played it. Anyone here played it?
I've never heard of it.
I love it.
It's a 2D game.
It's really it's a top-down 2D game. It's really, really immersive, and the style that it goes for is just absolutely brilliant. In fact, Dead Matter, it takes a lot of elements from Project Zomboid, and tries to convert it into 3D space, which I hope their next update goes really well. But Project Zomboid, really, really good game. I'd recommend anyone to give it a go. Fallout 76 though.
We'll just skip over number 3 because I still fucking still burnt. State of Decay. State of Decay. Brilliant game. I'm certain you played this, Scalespeeder.
Yeah, State of Decay 2 is absolutely amazing. If you're
I
into
haven't played
DayZ,
State of Decay 2.
oh, State of Decay 2 takes it to the next level. It's brilliant. Plays really good on the Xbox Series S as well.
The thing
it's
I
on
loved
PC
about it
as
was
well.
they describe it as it's not just a zombie fighter game. It's also you've got to look after your camp. You're micromanaging and stuff like that. So it adds that bit of in-depth for people who are looking for something like that. Is it multiplayer?
Yeah. It can be co-op multiplayer as well.
Yep.
So you start off with a group of survivors, normally 2, and then it's story based as well, although it is a little bit open world. And you take over a base, and then you can build like a hospital at the base, or a little farm, or power generation, or water stuff. It's permadeath as well. So if one of your characters dies, that's it; they're gone completely. So you've got to recruit someone else. It is absolutely fantastic.
They stayed
If you like
with that
zombie
from the
games-
first one because that was I was quite upset when my character died in the first State of Decay, and I had to shift to another character. And I was like,
Yeah, the melee combat with zombies is really good. All your characters have lots of soft skills, proper soft skills as well. So as they stay alive for longer, they get better at melee, they get better at shooting, they get better at finding stuff,
I might
and
have
they
to
get
look
quieter
at
at
that.
the
There's something
searching.
to stream just for something a bit different.
Yeah, when it goes in the Steam sale, the Juggernaut edition for like 15 quid, 20 quid, get it. You will not regret it. It is an absolutely amazing game. Really, really, really good.
Miscreated. I have not played Miscreated. Anyone here played it?
No, I've not. I have heard not many good things about it, but that was a fair few years ago, so the game might have improved since then.
Sorry, I lied. Yes, I did play it when it first came out, and it was pretty meh.
Yeah.
I saw Summit play it. So when she played it, good couple of months back now, and it didn't look that good. If I have to be 100% honest.
Hurt World. Anyone played it?
Never even heard of it.
Neither had I. Rust. I think we've all heard of Rust.
I've never heard of Rust. Is that some kind of like new indie game? I wonder what it
is. All I know about Rust is basically the only person I've ever watched play it is Stimpy, and from that I've got the opinion that Rust is the 4chan of survival games.
That's certainly one way to describe it. How actually? That's a question. How is the I don't know if Scalespeeder or Pixel, you guys have you played it on console, but how is it on console? If you know anything about it.
Yeah, I've got it on Xbox and PlayStation 4. Runs okay. Runs better on next gen. The problem they've got at the moment is servers are very, very full. So you've got like 100 people on each server. There's no private servers yet.
How big's the map?
As soon as we get not very big. When it's a full server and it's full pop, you're bumping into someone every sort of 50 meters with a rock who wants to smash your head in. But it's a really good survival game.
Yeah.
If you can avoid other players, absolutely. And they've got proper traders. There's aeroplanes, there's vehicles, there's an underground system. It's fantastic, Rust. And when we get private servers where we can just have PvE, that's when it's going to really take off, I think, on console.
What about you, Pixel? Have you played it on console?
I haven't. I've been holding off from playing it. My opinion on it, like I said to Mark before the stream, was it's a bit too raid and PvP orientated for my liking. It's classed as a survival game because obviously you have to eat, you have to drink, and you're surviving. But when you respawn, you've got your sleeping bags. Like you just spawn back in your base, grab a gun, jump back out. It's not really surviving, is it? You can.
No, it's really not.
Yeah.
Scum. Well, everyone knows my opinion on Scum. I fucking love the game. Marks, you don't seem to be that impressed by the title.
I haven't played it since the first week it came out, so I can't really give an opinion.
He's already regressed.
Has anyone else here played Scum?
Yes, when it launched.
Same, when it launched.
But I to be fair, I did have my old PC back then, and the performance at the start was not that good.
Have you played it recently, Scalespeeder?
Not recently. Yeah, it seems like an interesting game. I really struggle with the controls though, with the using the mouse wheel to run at different speeds. I didn't like that.
I love that feature.
I thought
it took me a bit of getting used to. Like when I came back to it a few months back, my chat basically described it as I looked constipated trying to play the game. One of my favourite mods, Brendan Sinbad, said, "Boydie, you look like you're in pain playing this game." And I was literally going, "This is fucking retarded. This is stupid. This is everything." I was calling it every name under the sun. But Rhino, God bless him, persisted with me and said, "Just give it a shot, give it a try again, watch a few videos." And I've turned around on it. As a survival game, now, Pixel, it is a bit focused on raiding as well, because the base building in this game, everything you want from base building for DayZ, Scum has, and then some. Proper defenses, you can lay landmines, spike traps, nail traps, bloody all improvised claymores, all sorts of stuff that you can lay around your base. But the actual survival elements of the game are... It is still in beta and they're still a little bit janky in some aspects, but they are fucking on point. Cooking, recipes, the medical system just got a massive overhaul with the 0.6 update, and it is definitely worth checking out. You've just got to remember it's not DayZ, and that's the biggest fault this game has. Probably with the same with some of the other titles there. People will always compare it to DayZ. I like it because it's not DayZ. I like DayZ because it's not Scum. I'll go through cycles. I'm in a Scum cycle at the moment because of the 0.6 release, and I'm loving Scum. And then I'll fire up DayZ again, and I'll remember how fucking awesome DayZ is and the reasons why I like DayZ that I don't like about Scum. And just don't compare them. If you go in there how's this compared to DayZ, you won't like it. But if you go in there just as a survival game, you'll enjoy it. It's a fun game. Anyone played Valheim?
Yes, I have.
What is it about?
It's how do I explain it? Actually, you're kind of you're like a Viking, right? A Viking in a mythical land, and your objective is to kind of build your own community in a way. You can do like a lot of terrain editing kind of stuff. You can the base building, so to speak, is actually really, really intuitive, really, really nice. Once you get the hang of it, you can build quite a lot of cool shit. One of the things I like about it, though, is that you have a map, and well, obviously most games have a map. But one thing I really love about this map is that when you reach the limits, do you know how like the old Norse legends of like the Earth being flat and you got the waterfalls and the edges of the planet? It's exactly like that in game. You build a boat, you go through torrential weather and all sorts of stuff. You reach the end of the map and you literally sail off the end into the waterfalls. It's fantastic, and it's a very stylized game. It's a very niche game. I say niche; it's sold millions of copies. But it's something you can just sit back and relax and have a good laugh with. And it's more of a PvE really game than a PvP. Yes. Is what they're saying in the description of it. There are PvP elements in the game, obviously, but the PvE aspect is the main core part of it. And I used to play the game a lot when it came out with a whole bunch of friends. They would stream it, we'd all have a good time. And then, as with all games like that, it just kind of like teetered off at the radar, but it's still getting updates. It's still got really, really cool additions, and the game itself is an out of the park, fucking at least an 8 or 9 out of 10 in my eyes. And then we've got 7 Days to Die here. Pixel, have you played this one, buddy?
I have indeed, actually. Yeah, I've got it on my PlayStation. It's a very good game. It's quite hard to get used to on a controller because you haven't got dead zone options. So when you're trying to select the inventory,
what do you mean by dead zone options?
Oh, so like on a controller, on a mouse, you can move it as fast as you put your setting on your mouse.
Yep.
on a controller, you're quite set to like the sensitivity of the stick and how fast your cursor moves.
Ah, yes.
So where you could just click, drag, click that, combine that really quick with a keyboard, you've got to do it really slow. It's kind of the same like DayZ with a controller. You hold X, you jump over onto your inventory, you place it in there by releasing X. It's quite similar to that, but it's really slow on controller. But mouse and keyboard, much better. I do like the game. I just wish it had some more options for me to move things a bit faster.
It's interesting, Scalespeeder, that there's a few games missing from this list. You've got Dead Side, Dead Matter, and Survive the Night's missing from the list, which were all touted as DayZ killers and have faded into obscurity.
I don't think you could put Dead Matter on that list right now. It's not even
Yeah,
working.
no, Dead Matter's done. It's in the water.
They actually just posted a kind of like a community update for this week about the stuff that they have worked on, stuff they've overhauled, and like what is left to do for the 0.7 update. And the game, they realized for Dead Matter, and they realized they made a lot of mistakes when they started the closed alpha. There's a lot of stuff I can't talk about because of NDA stuff. When you're a part of it, you have to be very careful about what you can say. But with stuff with that community update, they're definitely going in the right direction. They have completely removed some systems of the game that were coded really poorly. They've optimized a lot of models, a lot of systems. They've updated a lot of stuff, obviously, but there's still quite a bit to do for the 0.7 update. But they are really trying to take their time, but they realized a lot of mistakes along the way, and I can't wait for it. I'm a fan.
I'll give them the benefit of the doubt, Scalespeeder. Yeah, everyone makes mistakes. DayZ made mistakes along the way, and they had to revamp the game. But yeah, their handling of their PR on some things was pretty fucking ordinary. But I'm still following the game with interest because they've got some novel ideas. I like the cycle idea of the server, that it goes from right after the outbreak, and then things get older and start to deteriorate, and then the server resets, and you can put power on, and I like the idea of with vehicles where the stuff you load into the trailer of the vehicle is actually visible. That to me was very immersive. Great idea. So I'll be watching that one, Scalespeeder, with interest to see where they go.
Yeah, and I think you're dealing with very small dev teams, aren't you, here, with probably quite small budgets. And up until a few years ago, you probably would have never heard of this stuff before the game either died or got released.
Yeah.
But with early access and social media, like, we get to see it a lot earlier. We kind of get involved in it. We get invested in it, don't we? And we think, yes, this is going to be the next big thing. You're involved in the process, doing the alpha testing and the beta testing, which can be really good. But there's also the one thing I look forward to as well is like with coming season, when the new Call of Duty comes out or the new Battlefield, get these super polished AAAs that are just hopefully good to go. So I really like that too, as well as these games that aren't really finished.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, I'll just put in the podcast agenda. I've just put a link for the day before. And
I was going to address
actually,
that.
The day before.
What's the day before?
So the day before is an upcoming DayZ killer. It's really not.
This game, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So the trailers from it looks so damn beautiful. It looks so goddamn good. But the problem is, a lot of people are saying it's a scam.
Another money grab.
Yeah, I heard that from the trailers and stuff, because it looked like it was on rails and stuff, didn't it? Or only certain sections of it were done.
Very scripted trailers. It was gameplay, but it was very, very scripted. Is what the concern that people had. We just don't know how open world it is. There's like even the company behind it, I don't think people know much about them. They've done mobile games or something.
Yeah, they done, from what I can recall, and I could be wrong. They done mobile games in the past, and then they moved on to this. But the thing is, when it comes to trailers and scripted trailers, and it goes back to YouTube scripted videos or whatever, there's nothing wrong with that inherently. You're trying to present the theme of the game, of what you're trying to achieve. And, you look at E3, for example, there's a lot of trailers there. They're all scripted. Ubisoft is hella known for it. It's cringeworthy. And the day before, I should say, I do have hope, and it's just a smidgen of hope that it's not a scam. And just because a company has just developed mobile games before doesn't mean they're not allowed, or they don't have the capability to develop in a game like this. Look at Hello Games, for example. The first game they ever made was Joe Danger, and then Joe Danger 2, and then Joe Danger the movie. And then they made No Man's Sky. Well, yes, that game was terrible on launch. Look at where it is now, because they actually care. And the reason why the game launched when it did was because of Sony. If it wasn't for them, the game would have actually been completed on launch.
You can't deny that what we're watching on the screen here, it's beautiful.
It's great.
It's a beautiful environment. Big city as well. How many times have we said on the podcast, Marks, how much we would love a city map? And we know there's open world in this as well, but there's skyscrapers in this, and you see them going up into it. So the thing is, we just don't know. Other than what they've allowed us to see, we just don't know anything else about it.
Yeah, I would love for them to be a little bit more transparent to the community, to kind of quell these kind of concerns and conspiracies and shit like that, just so we know that people who want to invest in the game are actually going to get the product that they are buying, or they bought for. Pardon me, apologies. And it's because we need it to have more games like this on the market, something that can contend with DayZ, or not even that, but just to be in that kind of level playing field would be really, really cool, because no other game has tried anything what DayZ has successfully done. There's always some caveat somewhere that kind of but look at that. It looks so goddamn good. Mm-hmm. It looks so good. And with the other game, Dead Side, I've heard literally nothing about this game. I don't know what it is about. So can you tell me more about it, Pixel, since you linked it?
Dead Side is the description from the developers. Pixel, I think, is DayZ without monsters.
Basically, yeah. It's another one that's meant to kill DayZ off, but from my eyes, it's that sort of aspect with it, but it's more PvP orientated around that, and NPCs, I believe it is, that walk around. You've got a working safe zone and trader. You got cash deposit things which you can put your stuff in and move it from one server to another, so you ain't got to carry it. Right. If you check their Twitter, they've got a lot of stuff what they're updating and all of that. I think the last one they actually done was July 28th, so only a few days to update 0.2.3.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know exactly what this is, but it's click on it here quick. Just quickly just basically explaining a lot of stuff that they've fixed. I believe you can get it on Steam as well currently at the moment.
Right. Okay.
It does look very interesting. But you'd have to take your own opinion on it. I couldn't sway anyone.
Of course.
Obviously.
I have to. The whole connotation of it's like DayZ without monsters is just ridiculous to me. But
yeah,
I saw you, Marks. You fucking rolled your eyes. You're like, oh, God's sake.
Yeah, another one.
Every game that says they're
that
compares to not even DayZ Killer, but just compares their game to DayZ. Never is anything like it or anything better than
it never will be. DayZ is a one of a kind. It's a one-off. You will never get anything the same or similar to it. It will always be DayZ is the big daddy. Yeah. That's the way I see it.
Even
the thing with Dead Side we need to let people know is there's AI in the game, which is probably its main point of difference, is that DayZ has zombies, bears, wolves. I'm not sure if there's bears and wolves in Dead Side, but you'll actually come across roving patrols of AI. And from what I've heard, they vary in their skill level. Some of them can almost one-shot you from 150 meters or something, and others aren't quite as good. It's a bit. That's one of the areas of concern some people have. Is that right, Pixel?
Yeah, there's different tiers to the AI. So you'll come across bigger groups of AI and smaller groups.
Yep.
So you can have like 2 or 3 roaming about the map down a road. Like in the videos, you can see. I think that's an AI down there. You get 1, you get 2, you get 3. You might even get 8. They're all over the shop, but some of them are more like they're more focused on you in a sense, like more aimbot-ish. So they can just take you out without you knowing. Like it's not. It's similar to walking around the Northwest Airfield and getting sniped from the ATC tower when you're down the other end by the tents. It's like that. You don't know how it's happened. Why did that happen? Like but this game is AI orientated mainly. There's a lot of
from just looking at the official gameplay trailer there, and sorry for interrupting.
That's all right.
It definitely does look interesting. Obviously, with that being a 2019 trailer, I do hope that the game looks better now than it does then. It doesn't. Oh, for God's sake, twats.
Because Anarchy uploaded a video on it a couple of months back as well, and it looked exactly the same. And it just looks, I don't know, kind of boring.
I mean, that sucks.
There's the description. DayZ is a hardcore multiplayer shooter with survival elements, post-apocalypse, open world, no zombies or unicorns. Real weapons, transport, construction.
Cool story, bro, but I don't remember asking about that shit like that. It's so fucking dumb. Well, I wouldn't say it's dumb. They are well within their right to do that. But when any company says, as you said, Max, when they try to be the next DayZ, the DayZ killer, it's ridiculous. Like I'm going
to say, how many times are we actually aware of devs actually stating that? I know Dead Matter. There was some statements made about DayZ, but a lot of the time, I think that hype, lad, comes from the community, not from the actual developers themselves.
I would agree there. It's more so the community and the media that kind of try and tout it, but the developers don't help themselves. They don't try to quell those kind of like
putting that in capitals on your Twitter handle definitely is implying something. Would you agree, Scalespeeder?
Yeah, absolutely. Didn't Scum say? Didn't the lead developer on there say there was a DayZ killer? Yeah, I believe.
The last, I don't know whether he said that years ago, but when I interviewed him, or sorry, not when I interviewed him, when I saw someone else, he made the comment that he would love to, but he actually sold it in a way to me that made sense, that DayZ is the big boy. If you're not aiming to take the big boy down, then you're not aiming high enough for your game. And I agree with that statement.
Most definitely.
Everyone developing a survival-oriented game should be aiming to overtake DayZ, or more accurately, I'd probably say, I think Rust has more people playing it than DayZ.
Way more, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They should be aiming for Rust and DayZ. And if you're not, you're aiming for too small of a market.
But that's the thing when you compare DayZ to Rust, they're completely two different entities. Like Rust has its own little thing going on for it, its own little style, its own way to play. That's perfectly fine. And then you've got DayZ, which has always been this kind of realistic simulator type video game with infected. And the core elements about it is obviously, when you die, you literally got absolutely bugger all. And the interactions, that's what brings people to the game. And then when you have other game companies trying to come in, they try and create their own little games and whatnot, and to try and compete or overtake DayZ, they forget the core elements of what makes DayZ DayZ, and why people play the game despite how broken it could be, or how it has been and will be. And they can, it's like, how do I put it? You can remake DayZ 1-to-1 in a completely different and better engine, and it will not be DayZ, because you just can't do it. Yeah. You literally cannot do it at all. And which is why I said before, we need more love for DayZ, because it is a one-of-a-kind game. No other game in the past decade has ever come close to being that replacement. No other game can, and no other game will. And it's a good thing, and to me, I think. But the thing is all these games companies that are trying to do that is great as well, because it's more games for us to play. It's more games for us to have really good experiences, to just have a look about what DayZ has spawned, because of their ambition to try and overtake, as you say, the Big Daddy, which it's never going to fucking work. But I mean, that's the fanboy in me, to be fair. But
nothing wrong with being a fanboy. There's nothing wrong with being a fanboy of a game. Just don't be toxic about it. Don't.
Don't be an obnoxious prick about it, basically. Recognize that your game has faults and be like, yep, the game's not that good, but I'll love it.
Now we are on to our little mini spotlights. A content creator I wanted to shout out that I became aware of, Wolftheninelives, did a really, really interesting video on your server, I believe it was, lad, where he bumped into geckofish. And it was not scripted, all prepared. It was an original in the moment thing, and basically had them going on a mission to find his grandma. And I won't spoil it, but I'll share the link to the video. I actually really enjoyed watching it. It's only a small channel, but if you don't mind a bit of a scripted, or not scripted, semi-scripted, sort of live action role play, it was a bit outside of my comfort zone, that's for sure, for what I usually watch, but I really did enjoy the video. So go check it out. Definitely worth a look. We also have a artwork creator mini spotlight. Blitzur.
Okay.
End of month sales. So, I didn't really think that one through, did I? For those of you who are in a time zone where it's still the 31st of July, get in quick before the end of month sale ends. Emotes, £10. Sub badges, £20 for 6. 1920 by 1080 custom start be right back screens, £15. Video editing, £20. I'll quickly retweet that. Email in my bio. But yeah, Blitzur is another amazing creator who is doing video editing, artist, streamer, normal. So definitely a fan of Uncle Ray Ray with that written in the bio there. But yeah, definitely worth checking out. Community Spotlight.
Got the DayZ Wiki.
Yes. Finally got the details for them. So I'll post this. Mark, you were mentioning last week about how the wiki is so out of date. And it is. It really is. But really is. As I said last week, there are people working on it. And they've got a Discord. And I'll just jump back to here so I can copy the link for it. If you would like to be involved in the project or even just know where they're at with it, this is the Discord to join. They're always looking for people to join them and help them because, like you said, Mark, it is such a massive, massive undertaking to update what needs to be updated from the DayZ Wiki.
Yeah, it is for sure. Hopefully they get it done soon because a lot of new players go onto it and get all false information and it just causes confusion.
Yep, exactly. It's really good that we still have, despite all this time, we still have a dedicated part of the community which is absolutely willing to keep everything is correct as possible.
There are so many people in this community, Scalespeeder, who do stuff out of the goodness of their heart, isn't there?
Mate, and you're probably one of the ones who's top of the tree, boy.
Spaggy's another one.
Yeah, Spaggy.
Wobo.
Yeah. Oh, mate, Wobo, he's like the bloody granddaddy of it all, really, these days.
Yeah. And Asmondian's another one for me.
Oh, yes.
Fucking love Asmondian. I want to get him on the podcast, but he won't even let me send him a fucking coffee mug. He reckons it'll get broken in the post to Argentina, but yeah. Mario's the same.
I still... Yeah, I really like Asmodian since purely because he uses some of my artwork for his stuff. So, like, I was like, oh, nice, cool.
Now, DayZ tweeted out the community spotlight for August, or for July, I should say. What have we got in here? 14 days event. That's been great to witness. Just seeing that pixel What an amazing event. The viewer numbers on DayZ were just through the roof, weren't they, Pixel?
Yeah, well, most definitely. They were just right out there. It was unbelievable to watch, really. Everyone coming together.
I did have to
Something
laugh
like
at
this.
some of the English-speaking content creators tweeting out stuff in Spanish, like, and you knew they were doing it totally tongue-in-cheek, like "Hola, Espanol" and stuff like that. Don't forget us English-speaking creators just seeing these, hundreds of thousands of views that were coming in from the Spanish-speaking community. We're very English focused here on the podcast, but you do sometimes forget there's all these other communities, Scalespeeder, that play DayZ but do it in a different language.
Absolutely. I mean, like you've got the Spanish, and I think we're probably all fascinated by the Russian side of DayZ as well, and the dark stuff that goes on over there.
Yes.
Totally.
That's the wildlands over there. Gotta love them because some of the stuff that they come up with is absolutely brilliant, but it's still the Wild West.
We had the yes, they shouted out Inclement Dab and the DayZ editor coming out of beta, which was fantastic to see them shouting out a mod. They did a contest on Twitter, International Friends Day. Some weird DayZ stories. I did like this one. Guy came and starts playing the Rocky Balboa music, Eye of the Tiger, and beat the shit out of me. Speaking like Stallone, also hilarious. Just, we've all got those crazy moments that have happened in DayZ. One of the things that makes DayZ so great for us all, most people don't remember their epic kills, but the weird things that happen in the game, you remember them for the rest of your life. You might not remember a squad wipe you did at the Northwest Airfield, but you remember that chap in Essica in handcuffs going to church because, in his words, he'd been a naughty boy. I guarded him till he made it to a church where a priest zombie swiftly ate him. Just, yeah. They shouted out the Running Man's video, Sacre Bleu. This only happens in DayZ. Staying undetected during PvP. Of course, not all encounters with other players. It's just, I'm really happy to see them doing this. And like you said, they've got the new junior community manager, so who knows what we're going to be seeing from them in the future.
Too right. Like I said before, like, congrats to him becoming the junior community manager. And this community spotlight was an absolute doozy. He made us laugh quite a lot of times. It was really, really nice to see, as you said, they had a spotlight for the DayZ editor, which is just an absolute brilliant mod. And the fact that they highlighted the Spanish events going on and everything that they were doing was actually really remarkable. And I mean, obviously they were going to do it. I mean, there was no way they couldn't, but it was still really, really nice to see, like, they give some love and attention to that side of the community. And, it doesn't matter what language you speak or what ethnicity you are, you're still a survivor. You're still one of us, And the fact that that just shows it, it's Fandabidosa. It's very nice. And the rest of the spotlight was just brilliant.
Yeah, a couple of people to shout out. Cam Can't Run. I've done a spotlight interview on him. Really genuinely nice, down-to-earth guy as well. Plays out of the US. Freshborns making 30,000 subscribers. I keep on hitting him up on Twitter. If they happen to watch this, would love to get you guys to come on as guests, because I'd love their concept of it's a shared channel. Two mates making content together. You don't see that. I can't think of anyone else who does anything like that in the DayZ community. Usually it's single people, people playing together. But these two guys are sharing a channel, and it's just such a novel idea. So I'd love to get them on to tap their mind about how it all works and that. But yeah. And there's the August calendar as well, which you can download with the dates or without the dates, depending on your preference. So, yeah.
And they also spotlighted Dance to Jesus' images as well, just above. The bear and the...
of the month, yep.
Yeah, the bear.
Which I swear to God, one day I will bloody get on there. One day.
Actually,
that's a goal for me.
I've got to show you guys something that happened to me playing Chinaris Has Fallen the other day. Let me see if I can find my channel.
So I'm interested in this.
This was freaky as fuck. I I know this is a bit of a shill of myself, but
Man, go for it. Go for it.
Yeah.
Is it a clip or is it
it's a clip. It's
Okay,
a clip.
cool.
Here it is. Turn your sound on. That only works for wolves, as far as I understand it. It spun me out. I knew there was a bear around. I just had no idea he would be standing in my doorway like that when I opened the door up. And you just hear me just go, yeah. So I wanted to share that one with you guys.
I shat myself. That was.
And again, one of those great things about DayZ, just this bear decided to stand up right in the fucking. There was no way I was getting past him. He ended up killing me too. I tried to outflank him, and he flanked my flank and ran straight into me as I was running around the town, and I ended up dying. So I'm back to a freshie on Chinaris Has Fallen, but yeah. Individual spotlights. Pixel, you're our guest tonight. We'll start with you, mate. Is there anything at all you would like to shout out? A server you're playing on, a community you're part of, a video you've watched, anything at all, mate? This is your chance to sell something that you want to anyone who happens to watch this.
To be honest, I haven't really come prepared, if I'm being honest. If there is a YouTube channel that I can shout out, if that's all right.
Yeah, go for it.
I just have to quickly find it. If someone else wants to take over whilst I quickly find it, I'll get the name.
Yep, then we'll go with you, Scalespeeder.
I would always like to shout out Balshad. He's got an amazing Discord. If you're into modding, especially console modding with the XML modding, just do a search for BHAALSHAD. Obviously, Don, good old Don Sibley. It's good to see him back doing DayZ stuff. The free XML support group on Facebook is definitely worth checking out if you're into console modding as well.
Yes.
And there's another chap called Reaver's console modding. Well, he's got an amazing Discord with great.
Nice one. Absolutely fantastic.
Me, I'm going to shout out our Patreon. Please don't forget, we've got a Patreon where you can help support the show. It enables us to do cool things like we actually, SS Muller's Yogurt did a DayZ quiz last night, which apparently went really well. Did any of you guys happen to catch it?
No, I didn't have a chance to.
I know Dancer Jesus and Dewan were in the chat there watching it. But we donated a prize on behalf of the podcast to the winner. He's still got to collate the points and everything and get back to me as to who the winner is. But we donated a coffee mug just because we love doing things like this for the community and being able to put a prize there just to make it a little bit, a little bit more. For whoever won. And it's thanks to the generosity of our Patreons over at patreon.com/878 Survivor FM. And I would also like to announce that we have now got a partnership deal with Ping Perfect.
Yes. Our first sponsor, if I'm correct in that.
Yes, so I've still got to finalise a couple of bits of information with them. But from everything I've heard about them, they're actually a pretty decent company. I found out about them through Scum servers. So I'm quite excited about where this is going to go and working with them in the future. Marks, what about you, buddy?
Yeah. I'm just going to promote the Pripyat map and stuff that I've done before.
Yes.
Since I made the video on it, it's done really well. I'll just link the mod as I can't. I can't link the Discord, but
how did the video go? By the way, was it received pretty well?
Yeah,
9.6 thousand.
everyone loved it. Everyone like nearly has 100 upvotes on Reddit and nearly 100 on
Nice.
Facebook, and it was just they've done really well, and people were very excited, and they got players on the server, and their Discord started to fill up. So
That's
I
brilliant.
did have to laugh at
They
our mate
need it.
Farlong Marks. If someone makes a Pripyat Chernobyl map, they'll buy a gaming PC, and it was like you liked the comment or the video that you put out, and I linked to it.
literally mirrors beforehand.
God bless him. It was funny. Pixel, how did you go finding your shout out, mate?
I found one. His name's Nev. I don't know if any of you have heard of him. He's a DayZ content creator. He's only got 3.18k subscribers. His content's really good. I really enjoy it. Not an amazing amount of views, but he's still quite up there. With his latest video hitting
I don't know,
33,000
20,000 views on a video a couple of months ago there. That's a decent amount of views for a video. Would you agree, Marks? 33,000, 20,000?
Not bad.
That's
doing
very
all right.
good.
Yeah, quite high amounts. I mean, if you backtrack a few more, he's only got 844 views, 663.
Good thumbnails. He's got some really good thumbnails going on there. Does he do them himself?
Yeah.
Do you know?
I'm not 100% sure. I believe I may have seen one or two of them before from someone else. But I could just be speculating. But I've got some.
Thumbnail
I
by
don't know
me.
if you've
Yeah,
ever
he
heard.
says it there. Thumbnail by me. So he's
There
quite
you go, yeah.
artistic with his thumbnails.
That's it. Yeah, they've got the same sort of look as like JLK and Nazar,
Yeah.
so that's probably what drags some people in as well.
He
Well,
is
that's-
Nev
Sorry?
is one of Nazar's teammates. So
Yeah, there you go then. Yeah. I also had Fubar Bundy. If anyone's ever heard of him.
No,
Oh,
no,
yeah.
tell me about him.
Well, I'm gonna take that as you do, but yeah, I do enjoy his content. It's a shame that he hasn't uploaded, but
He is probably my favorite DayZ content creator of all time. I put him above Frankie. I put him above everyone else. His content is so. When he uploads, I stop what I'm doing and I watch. I am just a massive, massive Fubar Bundy fan. And like you said, it's a crying shame he doesn't upload more. But that said, to get the sort of organic interactions he gets, they don't happen a dime a dozen. And
They don't.
if anything, it's a blessing that he doesn't just upload every sort of thing. You know, when Bundy uploads a video, it's something special.
yeah, 100%.
Oh, yes.
What's your favorite
Too
Bundy
right.
video?
Mine.
Yeah.
Oh God. I can't remember when it was, but it was when he sat up on a hill looking down at a bloater.
Yeah.
I can't remember the name of it.
The sniping campers or something like that. The epic where him and Alan sat there and they were just they took the same shot over and over again, and they came back the next day trying to get this miracle 1150 meter shot or something
That was
ridiculous.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was it. Sniping campers at 1,000 meters, DayZ.
This is my favorite, Rampage 3, along with Dick Pics, but Rampage 3 has a personal thing because I know the salty guy in it. It's one of his older videos, but if you haven't watched it, Rampage 3 is one of the funniest DayZ videos of all time. It is absolute gold. I know the guys who get really salty with him and they were convinced he was hacking. And it's just hilarious. Absolutely hilarious.
Definitely watch that after this.
And he's got such a catchy intro as well. Probably one of the catchiest intros of all time.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, not intro for him. It's his outro. The Fubar Bundy outro is next level. Boom, 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 boom. Gonna shoot you right
Gee,
now.
Probably get stuck in your head.
Yeah, it does. It absolutely does. But yeah. Who did we forget? Marks. No. Scalespeeder, have we done
we
you?
don't know.
Yep.
Oh, lad.
Me. Yes, me. I sadly I don't really have one. I've been busy with my first week of work. Finally got a job after the whole of COVID, so fucking get in. So been focusing on that. Nizar actually, I think it was yesterday or the day before, did upload a video on X2K, but I haven't had the time to watch it. He's been doing really, really good with his content, I will say. And totally not because he's been playing on X2K at all. No, not at all. No. But he's an absolutely fantastic content creator. Him and the rest of his squad have been absolutely brilliant. Definitely go check them out when you can. And they're just really, really good laugh. They're really, really good laugh and really, really entertaining. So.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are done for episode 70 on the 1st of August or July 31st, depending on where you are in the world. The only thing left to do now is announce who is on the show next week, and it's a good mate of mine from New Zealand. He's a sheep fucker, but all Kiwis are, so we won't hold that against him. It is the guy in charge of the DayZ Down Under community, Spud. He usually always in watching the show in the morning as well. I'm excited to have him on. He managed to do something that a lot of people in the Australian, New Zealand DayZ community didn't think was possible, and that was to fill a first-person server. They just recently wiped, and they had a queue of 35 people just waiting to get onto their server. So for a small little player community like Australia and New Zealand, absolutely amazing. And we'll be picking his brain as to what he managed to do to get so many people interested in playing first-person DayZ again, which is fantastic to see. Marks, Lad, Scalespeeder, Pixel, thank you all so much for coming on the show this week, guys and girls.
Sure, I appreciate you having me.
Nah, Pixel, it was good. You gave us a lot to talk about, mate. There was a lot of good things there, not just console-specific ones, but just stuff about the game in general, and stuff that would definitely benefit console if it came across to the official branch of the game. You're nodding your head there, Scalespeeder.
Yeah, it was all really good stuff. Some fantastic ideas, and fingers crossed, eh?
What are you going to do with a picture of me in the background after this, mate?
You don't want to know, mate.
Throw darts at it, I reckon.
If you're lucky.
Guys and girls, we will see you next week, same time, same channel, as always, for the DayZ podcast. Marks and Lad, looking forward to seeing you again next week, mate.
Definitely.
And let's see what the next week in DayZ holds for us. Goodbye, everyone, and we will see you next week.
See you later.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Ciao for now.